Appreciate you guys all being here. What is going on? Oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. We got a lot to do tonight. 2025 is almost over. Can you believe that? 2025 is almost over. And we've got a year in review to be able to talk to you about the highs, the lows. Is our life actually better here at the end of 2025 than it was at the end of 2024? We're going to talk about that coming up here tonight, as well as big giveaways, more contests, and absolute craziness happening and being planned for the year 2026 that all involves you. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is UltimatDJz. This is Griffin. Thank you guys so very much for being here. Let's kick it off as we do in true Talking Trek style with a Talking Trek server sound off. You guys go ahead and punch it up in chat. Tarpy on server 30, thank you. Meli Kaliki Maka from Dr. Iron Chef on server 14, thank you. Counselor Hef on server 20. What, Griffin? You're not on server 67. Or 6 or 7. All right, or 6 or 7, okay? Archery on 131, thank you. Goldberth on 188, Benny Hill's Ghost on 42. Dr. Juby, shout out 67. Okay, thanks for that, appreciate it. Goofball. Thank you guys very much. Let's see, what else do we have? We've got Dr. Juby. Yeah, I already read that one. Voltron, 49. Lost in Space on server 45. Johnny 5 on 44. Jason Cash on 13. Stradalorian on 9. Tabby Moza on 20. Fifth Enterprise on 30. City. Commander Taylor on the 187. Thank you, Zach on 84. Burn on 701. Q on 56. Sasquatch on 26. Galahad on 53, Rose on 99, Clark on 51, Caledon on server 89. 9. Cookie Monster on 80. We Reveal on 95. Thank you, Duke of Marmalade on 187. Blake on 26. Bender 51. C. Wolfpack on 711. Jondrel on 32. Q-Dog 701. Martok on server 8. Thank you, Feet Washer on 704. Belgrace on 9. Forgotten Sec on 80. And the DJ and the server DJs forgot. That would be server 404. I log in once in a while. I'm there a little bit here and there. Guys, we had over 45 additional messages in the Talking Trek server sound off. Thank you guys very much for being here. My name is DJ. That's Griffin. We are Talking Trek. Hello. Bam. All right, we got a lot to do tonight.
Nailed it.
We got a lot to do. Hey, Nicole, how are you? 703, Ops 53 today, doing the Snoopy Happy Dance. Congratulations to you. Thank you very much. We'll have, we've got Tarpy on the stage. Good evening to you, Tarpy. Merry Christmas Eve. How are you?
Hey, Tarpy.
I'm all right. How are you?
By the way, Tarpy, I received your cookies in the mail. Now, I had not opened them the first night. I opened them tonight because Noah found the bag of cookies. Noah found the bag of cookies. He opens the cookies and he says, yo, what is this? And I'm like, these are homemade with love from Tarpy. He turns right around to me and says, tell Tarpy I'm about to F these cookies up. Okay. Now,
wow.
That video is hilarious.
Yeah, I'm like, wait a second. Hold on a second. I pull up my camera and I start recording and I'm like, what did you want me to say? He was like, you tell Tarpy I'm about to F these cookies up, except it was full of expletives. All right. And he proceeds to take the cookies to the microwave, Tarpy. All right. Puts them in the microwave for 7 seconds, not 5, not 10, 7 seconds. Pours him a glass of milk, sits down and says, oh my God, I'm in heaven. All right. Then after eating 3 of them, turns at me and says, wait, these aren't weed cookies, are they? I was like, maybe. I don't know. Could they be? Possibly. We'll find out here in about 15 minutes. So anyway, Noah really appreciated that. Thank you so much for the amazing cookies. Those were amazing. And by the way, shout out Noah for putting them in the microwave for 7 seconds. Because, yeah, that was great. No, it was not 6 seconds. It was 7. Not a 6 or 7. It was solid 7 seconds. Okay. So, yeah, Cookie Monster
just enough to get them warm and moist.
Yeah. Did somebody say? They certainly were moist. Cookie Monster says, did someone say cookies? Yeah. Tarpy.
We want cookie.
Tarpy has amazing cookies. All right. Just saying. Stryker says, better living. Better living through chemistry. Quick question, Tarpy.
Yes, sir.
Do you make your own sugar? Did you?
No. Oh my God.
Did you make your own sugar that went into those cookies? I'm just kind of curious if they're a scientific abomination. No. Okay, I was just curious.
No.
Is this something that cannot be recreated? All right, just checking. Karkin
the best
is on
chemists
the stage.
are also the best bakers. That's for sure.
I'm telling you, man, this is absolutely incredible. Karkin is on the stage. Matters is on the stage. Putz is on the stage. Happy Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa to you all.
Happy
Appreciate
Yule.
you guys all being here.
Yeah.
Hello.
Merry Yule.
What? That covers
I've never
everybody.
heard Merry Christmas, Kwanzaa. How'd you say?
Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa. All right, it covers everything.
I've never heard that. It does. I'm sure almost everybody.
Almost
Doesn't cover
everything.
Yule,
That's amazing.
but, okay.
Which one did I miss? Hold on. Which one did I miss, Karkin?
Yule.
Yule. Dang.
Where the Yule log comes from.
Merry Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa. Yule.
I don't know how to say it.
Christmas, Hanukkah,
Happy Yule.
Kwanzaa.
I didn't hear Diwali in there anywhere either.
Oh,
so
man.
I think
Okay. Happy Diwali, happy Festivus, happy Yule, and Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, and anything else that you guys have in there. Thank you.
And happy Tuesday for you atheists out there. Okay.
There you go. Everybody is covered. Okay. Everybody.
Festivus for the rest of us. And happy Saturnalia.
Happy days. And you know what? Just,
Satanists get nothing, says Caledon.
There you go. All right. So there you go. Lost it. How you doing? Merry Krampus. Is that, what is that one? Krampus? Okay. There you go.
It sounds bad. It sounds like
Krampus
something that
is
happens to me on the
totally a
Vengeance.
thing.
Okay. Well, there you go. Am I missing anything else? All right. Because I want to include everybody.
Krampus is the entity, not the holiday.
Oh, okay. There you go.
So-
He's the Christmas demon. Okay. Well, there you go. All right. Got all
Like
that.
saying Merry Santa Claus. That doesn't make sense.
Happy Santa Day, everybody. All right. There you go. So, Hypodermic says, you don't need to mess with me on Diwali. That was 2 months ago. All right. That would be like saying happy
I'm
Easter to
just
somebody.
trying to be inclusive.
Hey, happy Memorial Day to you guys out there, too. And you know what? While we're at it, happy Easter. Okay. So we got all that stuff covered now. Okay. Thank you guys very much for being here. Listen, Jules is going to be here in just a few moments. We've got a very special announcement. Then I know Griffin's going to have to dip, and we actually do have a podcast planned for you tonight. We've actually got some stuff to talk about. All right. The 2026 year to come.
That's very well worded. I really appreciate that. We actually have thought about it, and we might have something relevant to talk about today.
Well, in all fairness,
And we might get to it.
We're going to. In all fairness, Juby was giving me grief earlier because we really haven't done that many podcasts this month. Our last actual podcast was December 9th. But guys, I was on vacation. All right, so I haven't
It's a
done
busy time of year.
Yeah, it is a busy time of year, and I'm going to be gone for the next couple of days. So we had to do a podcast here tonight. But in taking that time off, it has been difficult for me to study the mechanics this month. You know, it's been difficult for me to study the mechanics and actually put together something to teach. So I'm really grateful to Tarpey and the panel and Jules for coming up with stuff that we're going to teach on tonight. That we're going to discuss. So that's great. That's all them, not me. So I'm very, very pleased about that. But because it is a pod and because Juby has been raising so much hell with me, he said, do you remember the days when DJs used to brag about doing 200 podcasts in a year? First of all, never.
That's true.
I've never done 200 in a year. We've never done 200 in a year. However, I did used to brag.
It was everything together. It was the podcast and it was the Twitches. And then, in 2023, you did hit 200.
Yeah, with all the shows. All right. But now we count them differently. Well, like, I don't know what our count is of streams. I've counted the number. But anyway, podcasts have been down just a little bit. So Juby says, I bet you don't even have the stupid news sounders anymore. And I said, but in fact, I do. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Talking Treks podcast. It is indeed time to check in with the news desk. From all around the world, it's time for the Talking Treks Stupid News.
Stupid
Yes.
news.
You got I got your news right here.
You know, I always thought that was Trader screaming that.
No, it's actually Karkin. It's Karkin. Karkin likes to do that. Voltron says, I remember all shows used to be pods before Twitch. Yeah, no, they did. But then, when we started doing video, then, we had to switch off. And sometimes doing videos, sometimes we fall off the rails. And they're not always necessarily really.
Sometimes.
Christopher Nolan is in the news, guys. I don't know if you guys heard about this. Christopher Nolan is in the news and has released the first trailer for his new adaptation for the Odyssey. Have you guys heard about this? It's going to be his biggest and most expensive film to date. Griffin. If it's anything like Oppenheimer, this movie should be the bomb.
Oh, Lord. That's how you're going to start?
Wow.
If you don't know,
it required intelligence.
If you don't know, the Odyssey is originally a poem written by Homer. And since you didn't know, you're probably thinking Simpson. That would be incorrect. Not the right Homer. Just let you know. Sylvester Stallone is in the news and actually was just recently having a conversation about his life and says that he will never, ever be able to come to terms with his parents skipping the Oscars the night that he won for Rocky, a role studios initially doubted him for. His parents are both passed away now, but it should be noted that they also never came to terms with Rocky 5. So they're even now. All right, they're even.
His mom couldn't be there. She was too busy producing the gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling at the Sands in Las Vegas.
Well,
that's the true story.
Never forgave them for it. Former MLB All-Star Ender Inciarte, I'm sure I'm not saying that right, Incarte, criticized Disney Cruise Lines after saying that he was upset by men dressing as women on cruises that were aimed towards children. It turns out he was just kind of confused and had never seen a man in a Speedo before, and that's all it was.
Oh, well, there are no short supply on Star Trek The Cruise, I'll tell you that right now.
Right there. I mean, you know what? On one hand, I can see why he might be upset. On another, if I pay thousands of dollars to go on a Disney cruise and I want to dress like the Little Mermaid, you sure as hell ain't stopping me, okay? I'm not happening. Nope. In the automotive industry, Carfax says odometer fraud is rising nationwide, Griffin, with over 2.4 million U.S. cars showing rolled back mileage, up 14% from last year. Me personally, I wouldn't risk it. It didn't really work out too hot for that guy from Ferris Bueller's Day Off, if I remember correctly. So I'm not touching that one.
Did not end well.
No. Thousands of people gathered at Stonehenge this past month, some in costume, to cheer and dance as the sun rose over the ancient stones on the winter solstice. It's kind of like Groundhog's Day, but for British people.
Oh, my God. The winter solstice is for everybody.
People in costumes singing and dancing while the sun rises. Sounds kind of like Burning Man, if I'm Finally!
Fair.
Finally. Let's see. Oh, yes. Sports news. Well, we're going to, you know what? I got one more. This kind of ties in. Dave Chappelle's actually in the news. You guys hear about Dave Chappelle? Dave Chappelle surprised fans by announcing that he's got a new stand-up special that is going to drop, that I guess did drop on the same night on Netflix that he revealed it. Immediately following the Jake Paul fight. Did you guys hear about this? So he came out, he announced it, the Jake Paul fight happened, and then the comedy special dropped on Netflix right after the Jake Paul fight. Not I'm going to Africa for 3 months surprise, but still a little bit of a shock, all right? What was that? Apparently his special dropped right after Jake Paul did.
Boom. I was waiting for that one.
Yeah,
a noble effort.
Yeah, it was. Listen, I give him credit. He was a YouTuber turned boxer, Jake Paul. Hospitalized, by the way, after being knocked out by Anthony Joshua on live television, suffering a broken jaw in 2 places. You're going to want to turn the comments off on this one, Jake, I believe. Jake has already come out and said that it's okay. He has already announced his comeback. He plans to fight Miss Rachel on Thanksgiving 2026. Ladies and gentlemen, that is your stupid news.
His problem is that he was having prime during the fight. He should have been enjoying a ghost energy, and then he might have made it 7 rounds.
Yeah, absolutely. And a very nice Hold My Beer Talking Trek koozie right there that you can get by typing !merch in our chat right now.
The problem is the prime he can get for free from his brother Logan, the ghost. He has to pay full price for, like we do.
Unfortunately. All right, guys, there you go. Welcome in. That is your stupid news, Juby. That was just for you. All right, it's been a minute since we've done an actual podcast. Did you like it? You guys like that? Hey, give me a round of applause on a scale of 1 to 10. How did you feel that stupid news fell? Maybe somewhere like in the 3.5, maybe a 9, maybe somewhere around 6 or 7, somewhere around 6 or 7, possibly.
8 or 9. 8 or 9.
8 or 9.
It was an 11. The one I liked most was the Homer one, because that's the first time ever I think you just made fun of the dumb people listening instead of somebody in the news, which is great.
All right, there you go. The show is better
That's
without
like a
stupid
dark
news.
turn.
Forgotten
We don't think any of you are stupid.
Forgotten Sex says the show is better without stupid news. I'm not entirely sure that that's accurate.
That's not fair or true, Forgotten Sec. Come on. Plus, you were the one who were asking for it earlier in the comments. I saw that.
You got
That is
busted.
objectively false.
You got busted, Sec. All right, thank you very much. All right, guys. Listen, Jules is still not here. He's 3 minutes late. We have...
He's not here.
He's not here. I tell you what, here's what we're going to do.
I'm here.
There he is, ladies and gentlemen. Jules Verne. All right.
That's a happy day.
Listen. Jules is been very, very busy in the lab for the last 3 days preparing our teaching segment tonight. But because we have a tight schedule tonight, and Griffin has family in the family room over part of the space station, we've got to make an
Deck
announcement.
17, and I think they're making the way up the. I turned off the turbo lifts, but I think they're coming up the Jeffries tubes now.
Gotcha. Yeah, we're going to have to let him go very quickly. However, there was something that we all wanted to be together here for Jules, and we've got stuff that we're going to teach on later tonight, and we've got some packs that we got to give away. But before we let Griffin go, there was something that you wanted to announce that was super exciting. It's been in the works for a little while, and we're ready to make the announcement. Benny Hill says, make the leak announcement. What leak announcement? I mean, I guess maybe it is a leak.
Well, this sort of announcement, you do not want to have leaks associated in any way, shape, or form with this type of announcement.
That is true. Jules?
I hope there's no leaks, actually. Zero leaks
I'm
on
banking
this
on
one.
it.
Yeah, I would think that we don't want leaks. Jules, what is your announcement?
Well, K9 actually has it. He wants to see me, so I'm doing a face reveal. But it's less about the face reveal and more about where that face will be revealed on, and that would be 2026, the cruise, the Star Trek cruise. I will be there. And I am so excited to go, and I'm so excited to be there as part of the Talking Trek team, as part of Star Trek Fleet Command, their presence on the boat, and their presence within our greater community. That's right, I am going to Star Trek The Cruise.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Yes.
Jules Verne will be on the ship, now marking our 5th content creator from Fleet Command that is confirmed on Star Trek The Cruise 9. That's right. If
You
you're
better start
there,
working on that fist bump now.
Yep, if you're there, if you're going to be in Canaveral the weekend after, you guys get a meet and greet and a face reveal with the one and only mad scientist himself, Jules Verne. Jules Verne is going to be there, all right? Orcanado says, sweet,
I'm excited.
I'm going to see you there. Fantastic.
Yes, this is great.
Yeah.
This is great. And
We have our own stage, we
a,
have our own bar, we have our own setup. They can't kick us out. We're going to be there the entire week learning about Star Trek from our good buddy Jules. Can't wait.
That's right. I mean,
and I'll make sure to pump my arms so that my arms don't look as tiny as Moopsy Seth.
Oh.
Woo, that's a burn.
Keep that
Skip
going.
leg day.
There you go.
I hope you're here, Moopsy. I am excited to
Yeah,
meet you.
Seth is going to be there. Fellow content creator Major Samo is going to be there. We've got Tarpey and Strider going to be there with the Talking Trek team. We've got Griffin and myself going to be there. We've got Jules Verne.
Putz.
Put. Yeah, that's right. Putz is going to be there.
Butts is going to be there. That's right.
It's going to be.
And more importantly, Mrs. Putz.
Mrs. Putz is going to be there, so it's going to be great. Dragon Keeper says, is he going to the meet and greet after the cruise? Yes, indeed. He will be there for his
But I am not sponsoring an open bar for Dragon Keeper. I want to make that clear now. It's got to be known.
All right, that's fine. We'll see. We'll see if we can get Scopely to pick up that bill. All right.
It's okay, Dragon Keeper. I got your bar tab. Don't worry.
And ladies and gentlemen, the other night I teased that we would have a special guest narrating our Imzadi content. Ladies and gentlemen, please allow me now to introduce that Jules Verne has been voluntold roped into our Imzadi sketch, and it will happen live on Star Trek The Cruise. All right.
That's going to be terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible. Don't come to that.
I'm reading at night. in bed next to my wife so that she understands and helps me with my narration.
Yeah, there's going to be amazing.
Unfortunately,
narration.
that is scheduled to occur at the same time as the William Shatner panel. Oh, what a shame.
Shucks.
That's too bad.
Oh, that's too bad. I know you guys are going to have to choose. So, yeah, anyway, it's going to be phenomenal. And for those of you who are not on the cruise, it is booked out. It's sold out at this particular point. But you know what's not sold out is the opportunity to come and hang out with us at our Canaveral meetup. As a matter of fact, Tarpey, coming up right after Christmas, we've got our Google form ready. We've got some details ready to go. And coming up right after Christmas, we are going to be publishing the list for you guys to go ahead and submit your forms and request your free complimentary tickets to the Talking Trek Community Meetup in Cape Canaveral that will be happening in February. Actually, is it technically February when we get back, or is it going to be like the 1st of March when we get back?
I think it's beginning of March, right?
No, so Saturday would still be the 28th.
The 28th of February.
28th of February.
28th of February. There you go. So that is going to happen. That will happen in Cape Canaveral, and we will have a list. Those tickets are free, and you can bring a guest. And we're going to have swag. We're going to have prizes. We're going to have guests. All right, we're going to have a guest of honor there. And we're going to have food, drink, and yes, Dragon Keeper, I'll buy you a few drinks. Okay, a couple.
I already said I would. I got Dragon Keeper completely covered.
specific.
You will not have that
There you go.
opportunity. His drinks
few.
are on me. Jules, I cannot wait for you to be on the cruise and spend time with you. Thank you so much for joining the Talking Trek team and being a part of that with us. That is going to make it an incredible week, and I cannot wait.
Yes, I'm very excited. I'm very excited to support the community that's there and really like your historic stream on this open seas. I have to be part of that.
Guinness Book.
Yeah,
Guinness Book.
It is going to be incredible. We are doing it again this year. As a matter of fact, I mentioned just a little bit ago, parts of the backpack have already started to show up. I've got 2 satellite dishes in my house right now, so it is already getting ready to start. Benny Hill says, "Can we have a hot dog eating contest with Jules on the ship?" Maybe if you guys, add it to the wheel, add it to the wheel.
Ooh.
Add that to the wheel. Add that to the wheel immediately.
How many stream goals do we need to make for the next 2 months? Because I have a list. And I can add that to the list.
Well, we're definitely going to get on it, okay? But Leon says, "Oh hell, we know when DJ is near Scopely staff, it means the arc is going to be bad." Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't do anything about that. I'm sorry, it's just nothing I can do. All right, it is what it is.
Have we announced that we will be in proximity to Scopely staff?
Scopely announced that they're going to be in proximity to us. Does it matter if they're tagging along with us? Does it matter?
That's the exact opposite.
Yeah.
No, I was in Culver City last Monday, and I did spend a good amount of time with a couple Scopely staff members, and the game didn't break. In fact, it's been running smoothly. So we know I'm not the problem. That's the
there
moral
hasn't
of that
been
story.
enough time for you to break it yet. Okay, that just happened last week. All right. Strider says it's specifically when we go to Culver City. Okay, well that might be good. Okay, might be good.
See,
so we might be all right. Sydney says, wait for the meet and greet. Yes, the meet and greet will happen on Saturday, February the 28th. Tickets are free. We will publish the ticket request form right after the holiday here so that you can request your free tickets and come out and meet us, meet some of the Scopely staffers, meet Jules Verne, and have a great time. But yeah, the Talking Trek team is growing larger and being very well represented on this cruise. I'm super excited about it. And even more, I'm really excited about having so many amazing creators there as well. Samo is going to be there. Seth is going to be there. It's just exciting to see how much Fleet Command's community has grown on this ship. So
I forgot to tell you, you inspired me with your whole backpack idea. I have made an upgrade in our production as well that nobody knows about.
Oh,
and
what did you do?
I was talking to a buddy about what we do and what our challenges are, and he says, "Oh, this is exactly what to do." And he's giving me instructions on building a master control switch for 4 HD cameras that'll go into one Type-C connector on my laptop. So we will have a full 4K 1080p production, absolutely no lag, no delay, crystal clear video to go with the audio, and we can actually point cameras in 4 different places. Probably starting on our next adventure in a couple weeks, but certainly during the cruise. So
that's incredible. So now the backpack, as I was kind of mentioning to you off air, the backpack requires 1 HDMI output. So you're saying that you can bring all those cameras into the laptop, use an OBS switcher, and then we can use one HDMI out from your OBS into the backpack.
With this box, it'll be OBS will treat it as though it has 4 different input devices, 4 different cameras into OBS. So it's not switching the cameras itself. It's just getting the feeds all into OBS, so we can build all of our scenes, all our slides, everything, and then boom, switch through OBS out from the laptop into your backpack and out to the universe to reset a Guinness Book of World Records Part 2.
Yeah, well, that's going to be incredible. And we are looking to break even more records. As a matter of fact, Talking Trek will be collaborating with Fleet Command and with Royal Caribbean and with Entertainment Cruise Productions for a very special program on the ship that we will be broadcasting live to all of you. This is not an exclusive experience. We'll be able to do this very special away teams style event, and we'll be broadcasting the entire thing to you from the middle of the ocean with Star Trek The Cruise coming up in February. So we're very excited about bringing you some of that stuff. Armadillo says, am I correct that 4K is better than 1080p? Yes, it is. The only issue that we might have there is I'm going to have to get with Twitch to make sure that we can actually broadcast at 4K. I'm pretty sure that Twitch
we can't. No, that's Twitch at 720, no matter what you do.
No, we're at 1080 on Twitch now. I actually just upgraded.
Are we?
Yeah, I just upgraded that.
That's good.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, with the new software encoders that I just got with the backpack Griffin, we are now broadcasting not at 30 FPS, but at 60 FPS, 1080p, and 7,500 kbps, 256K audio, making this the highest quality stream that we have ever produced here with UltimatDJz Plays. So we're very excited about that. Now, Clark says,
I got to get back in the gym. They're going to see my second chin coming back in.
Oh, yeah. Ooh. No, yeah, same here. Clark says, I have seen 4K on Twitch. That does exist. I have to upgrade. I have to request that of Twitch, which I will do. So hopefully they will grant that to us. But yeah, we are going. All right. Tiny Mama says, what about the panels on the ship? Are we going to be able to see them? As of now, we have appealed. We have requested, but as of now, we are still in the dark on those. Okay. We have requested an appeal. I sent the letter out actually. When was that? Yesterday? Yesterday. I've crafted a letter. And sent it.
I sure hope they don't check out our YouTube channel, man.
No. We had permission last year. year. We did all of our proper paperwork to get permission this year, and it actually was denied. So we're gonna see. I don't know if it's going to happen. As of now, we will not be able to bring you those
It's okay.
panels.
Don't worry. I've hired a court reporter to come on with us via helicopter. Going to helicopter her down. She will be transcribing the panels, and then UltimatDJz and I will be acting them out after the fact.
There you go.
And we'll do dramatic readings for you.
Of course. That's
and I'll be narrating them.
That's right. And Jules will be narrating. Now, we will be able still to bring you a lot of content. We will be bringing you a lot of programming. But we have more restrictions this year on the programming that we're allowed to bring to you. So, but we're working on that still with them. We still got some time. We're going to do what we can, Tiny Mama, to get you the stuff. All right. So, very exciting news in the Star Trek world. Very exciting news here for us at Talking Trek, and very exciting news for you, Jules Verne, and for the entire community. I mean, really, the tens of thousands of players. Literally, when I say this, I'm not exaggerating. The tens of thousands of players that use the tools that Jules and his team create and collaborate on and work with the community to curate for you guys. Really, truthfully, if you want to get down to it, all right, Jules Verne is the #1 widest reaching content creator, bar none, by a long shot. And he is going to finally reveal his identity to the community and be available for you guys to come up and shake hands and say thank you and be there. And we're honored that you're going to be joining us, Jules. Thank you so very much. I appreciate it.
And then, Jules, and then you will be able to approach people on airplanes and say, hey, I'm Jules Verne. And they'll actually know what you're talking about. It's amazing.
Absolutely true.
Yes. I did share that story with you where I met a random person playing Star Trek Fleet Command on a plane. And I was very excited to talk to them about their ops range. And they said, who the hell is this person walking up to me? And I couldn't reveal myself, so now I can. Now I can walk up to random strangers on planes.
And be like, I'm Jules Verne. You're using all my data, okay? My charts, that's what you're using right there, okay? So it's going to be absolutely phenomenal.
Benny Hills Ghost, no, you can't scoop my base,
points
but
out
yes,
that we have
I'll
now
have a hot
bumped
dog eating
ourselves down
contest.
yet again.
Yes.
On the CC
well,
list.
I mean, in all fairness, Jules would do that. And yes, don't worry, Zach. I have already constructed Jules Verne a Talking Trek Media Pass for him to be able to use. Oh
my God, I've got to go. We've gotten stupid now. I hope you guys have a wonderful 2025 recap. I've got to get back to the holiday party. I love you and I miss you all. I'll be back in a couple days and we'll talk more Trek.
Thank you for stopping by. And by the way, you still look phenomenal. Whatever. Are you serious? You didn't change anything?
No, nothing's changed. However, I have not actually opened Star Trek Fleet Command, and I suspect that's actually the problem.
No way. Can't imagine.
Yeah, because I did for 10 seconds, and your audio was stuttering, and then I started to pixelate again. I'm like, oop, close the app. And here I am back in full 1080p. So,
ladies and gentlemen, Fleet Command, the app that keeps on giving. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
It sure does.
There you go. All right. Well, have a wonderful time with family. We appreciate it. For those of you in the live studio audience, we've got more to go. In the podcast audience, we have some amazing stuff here. And Griffin, have a wonderful night. Thank you very much, buddy. Appreciate you.
Later, guys. Bye.
So, Jules, you have prepared an incredible stream for us here tonight. As a matter of fact, what it was that we wanted to kind of do was recap the year. We kind of wanted to go back and talk about some of the things that have happened throughout the year. Now, a lot of us are going to sit and be very objective here. Okay, that it's been a really rough couple of months. I know that my first reaction when you said, "Hey, let's recap the year," and I'm like, "Gosh, I don't know if I want to bring that kind of negativity in." And you said, "Well, yes, it's been a rough couple of months, but really from a very high level, there are a few things to celebrate this year." And that was some of the stuff we wanted to talk about. And from that then perspective, I kind of wanted to gauge from the audience, are we actually in a better position now than we were in December of 2024? And when we started talking about some of the numbers that you had and some of the stuff that you had brought in, and then even some of the stuff that Tarpey had talked about on the last show last night, it kind of started to click for me a little bit. Hey, there might actually be a few things that have actually, while we might be missing on implementation, while engineering might have had a couple of things, while Fleet Command's leadership might have made some significant missteps, the game may actually be in a better place. And I'm kind of curious what your justification is for that.
Well, I guess I wasn't trying to necessarily compare it to any previous year or the entire history of this game. It was really just like, what is the best of this year? You know, I'm trying to take the approach that we take to the music industry, right? We know that 1991 was a golden year for the music industry, but we're not trying to compare 2025 to 1991. We're just saying, what was the best of this year? And so I wanted to take a look back at what we've gotten this year and pick out the things that are going to change our gameplay for the foreseeable future, whether that is the features that were included, whether that is ships buildings or other types of features, whether that is officers. What officers do we feel like are going to become evergreens for either generational players or for us as an entire crew, as entire player base? And then lastly, one of the last points was, hey, was there some other type of structure or quality of life improvement that we say, hey, that was the best thing that we got in 2025? Now, I've asked the rest of the panel to come up with a few options, hopefully presenting their primary option of saying, hey, this was the best thing that I saw in 2025. And so I hope that we can kind of share that as a panel and kind of celebrate the good that we had this year.
Well, let's get started with that. That sounds great. And I'm going to invite you to lead this conversation. I'm going to dip off camera just for a second. I've got an urgent phone call that I need to address very quickly. But, Jules, please curate the conversation. Tarpey, I know you contributed. Putz, Matters, Karkin, Daystro's contributed as well. Let's talk about what was some of the stuff that stood out to you guys as being potential game mechanic improvements throughout the year 2025, and how did they stack up?
Well, I'll go ahead and start this discussion with just which features I felt had really changed the game, and it has to be said that G7 launching is one of the major features of this year, particularly for the upper end of players. But what I find more interesting about the G7 Ascension and the launch of G7 was actually the regional space and the regional chat, the Veil chat. That mechanic in its entirety really is connecting me more with the community as a whole. One of the things about this game being a massive multiplayer online game, it hasn't really felt that when you look at just your server, particularly when you're, except for incursions and then arenas, you were really kind of stuck with your server members to play with on a regular basis. So to now have a regional where I can play with up to a few dozen servers and actually be able to communicate and go find people to hit that I know and I like, and go mess with Tarpitude as she's trying to grind hostiles. Like, that is really where I find a lot of enjoyment out of this game. So I'm going to say the regional space. That is the thing to me, that is the feature in this game that has really been probably the key point to my happiness so far, in at least the last half of 2025. As far as officer is concerned, I think one of the key officers has been Wrath of Khan Joaquin. Him under deck because he's mislabeled, I think probably still mislabeled. He gives you isolated defense against really all of your opponents. There's nothing that blocks him against any opponent. He has really changed the game for me, and in both the mission bosses I can do, in the hostiles I can do, in the PvP battles that I get myself involved in. I think Joaquin, maybe because he was miscoded and they just launched him anyways and didn't correct that, has been one of the more impactful officers of this game. And I think that he will always have a permanent slot in a below deck, even if I only have 2 slots. I think he's always going to be that. So he's my evergreen officer from 2025. And the last thing that I will say as the probably the quality of life improvement that we had saw this year, I'm pretty sure Claim All was this year for refinery bundles. Is that correct? Am I crazy? I thought that was this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
So the Claim All button in refineries was the biggest quality of life improvement, and it has to be said. And I'm hoping that Scopely staffers go back and rewatch this show, because I know that several of them are interested in hearing these types of review type of content, because I want to really hammer in the case that if you reduce how many clicks that I'm not getting enjoyment out of doing. It's not a casino where I click a button, I see a bunch of rewards, I get really excited. That doesn't happen anymore when you're just clicking the same refinery buttons every single time. You're just like, how fast can I get through this? That enjoyment has already been gone. By adding the Claim All button, it reduced how many times I'm sitting in screens, and now I'm spending more in the game. And that just needs to be highlighted as a better quality of life than anything else that's been in the game. It's way better than anything added to the independent archives and a lot of the other things that they've added in there. And I know Griffin, who isn't here, would probably have said the back button, the mission narrative back button is his, year best quality of life improvement. But to me, it is definitely the Claim All button that reduces how long I'm spending in those screens. So, Tarpy, you're here. I don't know if you have your set of best of 2025 superlatives that you'd like to jump in and share.
Oh gosh. So I'm actually going to say that, and I might be stealing other people's. I'm going to say the Squall is actually one of my favorite editions of 25. As much as I don't like the transigen loop itself, and there's a whole litany of bad things that happened with it, and I don't want to get into that today. But I think that the Squall, with all of the different parts of the game that it impacts, is a really, really important thing just for a player to get into and to really start interacting with, because I think it saves a lot of time from other loops. So, I can see as a level 40-ish, 45-ish player, that could save a lot of time trying to do the formatos that you don't want to do from the Voyager loop and all of that. And as a G6 player and G7 player, the speed ups from the Squall have been absolutely super key. And I mean, I've just enjoyed that part of the game because it's like, as much as I don't necessarily like the loop, I really feel like I'm getting something out of it. So as much time as I'm putting into something, I'm actually getting things that I value from that loop. And that also includes the exos, and I don't use them, but the loop efficiencies as well. So I've found it useful. And I would have to also agree with you that the runner up for me is absolutely getting to mess with people in Veil Chat and the regional space, because that, and I know this does not impact most of the game population. It really is only 71 who gets to actually interact in the Veil, but you do have Veil Chat at Op 70. I think that that has just opened up a completely different just way to interact with people. So I just want to echo your preferred or your favorite one. And I am so bad at remembering questions. So
it was feature, it was officer, and it was there something else, whether that is a different type of structure to an event or a quality of life improvement or anything else that you felt was really game breaking in 2025?
Oh gosh. I'm so bad at answering these questions, even though you had me like, I looked at them since yesterday.
While you're thinking about that, I will say that there's a lot of people that are agreeing with you in the chat. JG Nachi, Lord Ascarian, Burton, they're all saying yes, the Squall has been really important to their gameplay. So I think you really hit on a key point there, which to me, like the transition loop is probably the worst loop that I've experienced in 2025. Yet the Squall itself and the things you get from that loop are very important.
It is interesting.
Yeah.
You brought that up just now, Jules, and that was going to be something that I pointed out. It is very, very interesting that the Serene Squall, being a part of Flashpoint that was so awful that they had to scrap 4 additional months worth of Flashpoint content, has had the most rewarding sets of rewards. That's not the right terminology, but the mechanics of the events were so bad, and the event for Flashpoint Hostiles and all this stuff ended up being so bad. Even the transigen loop that currently exists is not fun, but it really does pay. As you guys saw just a moment ago, I highlighted my daily Serene Squall claim that came with 40 hours of Sigma speedups. And my Squall is not even maxed. Of course, it's not related to the Squall. It's related to the Mastery artifact, but the Squall directly sources that. So, with the Mastery artifact that you're getting, then that is coming with 40 hours of Sigma speedups in and of itself. That a singular source, which may be one of the largest singular sources of Sigma speedups in a daily basis without grind that exists in the game.
So I think to kind of tie that up, where it's, you do the Squall stuff to get the mastery artifacts that give you stuff every day. That does grow with your ops. So if you're G4 when you get it and you go into G5, it does change to G5 parts and mats. And if you go into G6, it does change to Sigma. I think one of the things that I've actually valued throughout the year, and I've actually seen people complain about this, is that a lot of the arcs this year have been relatively short, or they're relatively AFK. And one of the things that, as I had a really, really busy spring semester as a professor, I had a really busy fall semester as a professor, having grinds that I don't have to actively participate in consistently all the time, where I have to think about it, that actually was a really nice part for me. So it also let me focus on, when I did have time to actually look at the game, I got to focus on the things that did impact my gameplay.
Yeah, let's take a look at that. You had January and February, you had DTI. Now, the DTI did involve active gameplay. Those were your formation armadas, the Crenum solo, the charged, and the static formation armadas. And a lot of people felt that that started the year off down kind of a complicated path because you had multiple different types of solo armadas that were not solo armadas. They were invading entities. So certain armada officers would not work, but that required a lot of thought and it had a lot of complication with the Crenum formation armadas and the Crenum invading entities. Then that was a two-month arc. And I'll kind of also point out that every arc this year, we had 6 full arcs. Every single arc was 2 months. So then you had solo wave defense. All right. Solo wave defense, elite solo wave defense. Again, active grinds. They were not passive. That was your third and fourth months, March and April, were solo wave defense. Where you started with that passive play was really in the second half of the year, Tarpy. You had Wrath of Khan that started in May and June, and you had the passive grind, right? Like you were going up, you were sending ships, and they needed to just sit there because the rewards that came from that loop actually came from chasers. All right. That was the augment expansion and these new D7 chasers that are giving the stuff. And then, of course, the Reliant helped that and allowed you to do more auto grinding. And arguably, Jules, Wrath of Khan was probably the most rewarding arc of the entire year. It sourced officers, it sourced a fleet commander, and it sourced, as you mentioned, your Evergreen. That was Joaquin that came there. That was Fleet Commander Khan. And all of these things were grindable from start to finish. It literally had no time gates on it. It was whatever you put into it with Wrath of Khan. Then moving forward, you had the Transgen and Flashpoints, which, again, Squall may not be the most fun thing, especially the mining piece of it, but there were also chaser hostiles built into that loop. The Serene Squall is in and of itself a combat miner that is specially suited for its chasers. All right. So you had that. Then you had Villains, which introduced the aggregation loop. And while that is not an auto chaser type loop, it is one that is extremely low attention. We were actually just talking about this the other night, Tarpy, where you could go in 5-10 minutes and be done for a month. All right. It actually kind of reminded me of the amalgam way back when. Remember those freighters that we had to go hit? And honestly, you could use the exocomp, go kill freighters for 10, 15 minutes and be done for a month or two. That's what we got again with the aggregation loop. And then that led you into November and December, what we've got right here and now, which is Solo Outpost. And again, very passive in the way that it was designed to be played. Again, arguable in how we're playing it compared to what Scopely intended. I think that Scopely wanted us to play it more actively by creating the buffs. Problem was, buffs made it a passive mechanic, right? The buffs weren't strong enough. We actually turned Outpost into a passive mechanic because the buffs weren't worth chasing. So we turned that into an overnight mechanic. So you take a look at November and December, September and October, July and August, kinda, and then May and June. These were all, as you say, Tarpy, very passive, very low time intensive grinds, which was very pleasing for a lot of players. And I think was a good balance because it allowed some players to come in and focus on previous forms of content, mastering previous loops or spending more time catching up. And the chore list, I feel like, got smaller this year. Do you agree?
Yeah. And so like I could take the time from the 5 to 10 minutes for that aggregation loop and then go do a couple mirror grinds for speed ups. And I do see people in the chat saying that the walk arc was not low grind for free to play people. And I want to push back on that a little bit because there was some expectation that you also needed to have all of that content done within that month or within that set of months. Where if you wanted to just grind enough to unlock the Reliant, you absolutely could have done that. And so part of why I'm saying I saw this year as a way to kind of relax is, yes, I did buy the ships as they came out, but also I need to consciously look at the game and say, what do I need to do? What expectations am I putting on myself that the game is not actually putting on me? Because you as much as the first person to unlock and max Fleet Commander Khan did it in 3 days was from my server, that was not necessary. You did not have to do that. And so it part of it for me is these arcs gave me the opportunity to put in as much engagement as I wanted at the time.
And I think that's an important distinction when we talk about the grind of it. Yeah, it definitely could have been grindy if that was your choice, right? But that loop, because it didn't have the time gates, was a different sort of grind, so to speak, community. And I do recognize what you're saying in chat. It was grindy if you made it grindy, right? If you chose for it to be grindy. If you had to have the rewards sooner rather than later, you could. Right? Yeah, Magu says no cooldowns on stuff is just good design, and I agree with that. But not only that, you also had the introduction of, for example, 3 of our specialty ships this year. The last 3 have been passive. The Reliant, the Serene Squall. I'll give the Serene Squall half passive, right? Because of the hostile piece of it, but you got to mind. And then the Dauntless, which the Dauntless can't be overlooked. And I know that the Dauntless is not yet free to play, but it still remains. Like, if I'm looking at all these ships from 2025, you had the Relativity, you had the Junker, the Reliant, Serene Squall, and Dauntless. Those, I mean, honestly, in hindsight, Jules, I'd be curious if you were ranking these 5 specialty ships that were launched this year. Honestly, I feel like these specialty ships were a better batch of specialty ships than we have had in previous years. They do have utility outside of their own loop. Putz, for example, talks, and Putz, you can speak about this here in just a moment. I want to hear from Jules first, but the Relativity has been the grinder ship for a lot of players. Junker, we use it everywhere. The Reliant is contained within its own loop, admittedly, but it is passive. The Serene Squall, same thing, contained within its loop, but mostly passive. And the Dauntless, we're using the Dauntless to do things that we didn't want to do anymore. So the Dauntless has been really, really nice. Jules, comparing the specialty ships this year, how do you feel that these lined up compared to prior years? And just for funsies, how would you rank the 5 specialty ships of 2025?
I think that the best specialty ship was the GS-31, just because of its superior performance against a myriad of hostiles, not only within its own loop, but also outside of its loop, and how it became crucial for, I mean, I still use it for most of my, weekly go hit a specific hostile thing that is not a G7 hostile. And no specialty ship outside the Vengeance can hit a G7 hostile anyway. So right now, the GS-31 is superior in that regard for doing that. So I think that's probably my favorite ship of 2025. And definitely when we look back at 2024, we're looking at the NX-01, the Eviscerator, the NSCA Protector, the Vindicator, and the Revenant. And really only 2 of those were any good.
Yeah.
So we definitely got a better batch of ships and a better batch design of ships. But I wanted to go back to Tarpy's point here, just as kind of wrapping up what Tarpy's comments were for her best of 2025. You kind of said that, hey, there was a lot of these loops that were AFK, and even with the augment loop, which could have been heavy grind if you wanted to grind it out right away, but you didn't have to. Is that where you are kind of referring to maybe as your, hey, event mechanic design, this was actually a good thing that came out of 2025?
I would think so. Like, I mean, I did like a lot of the different event designs that they did during different arcs, so I don't want to downplay that. But I do think that they were taking a conscious eye towards each player has a lot to do in the game right now. Here's some arcs even if it's not all of them, that either let you choose when you do them, elite waves or solo waves, or you have a passive auto grinder out or a miner or something like that. So I think that does kind of, it's a highlight for me because I think that was intentional.
Great. And I'm just taking some notes and I want to get to all of your answers before we go over to putts. What was your favorite officer of 2025?
Okay, so you kind of took Joaquin. I would say Carol Marcus, a woman in science, because women in science must stand up for my science ladies.
Okay.
And also because she's been pretty useful to me now that I have a lower deck slot. And I went up to G7 hostels from 7 to 9, being able to put her below decks. So that is a big jump when you consider the number of trips. So
I agree, and Carol being in G7 actually makes a whole bunch more utility too because of her deflecting some of that mitigation to your shields. It really helps out with those longevity crews that we're all using right now in early G7. Plus, like, she speeds up the augment loop. We just talked about how the augment loop can be very grindy. Well, here's an officer that once tiered pretty well can really help. So I definitely see her value there. I think we are going to putts next. Putts, I just wanted to remind you of the questions that we're asking everybody. Loops, features, or ships, or whatever that have really changed the game for the long-term benefit. What are you going to use throughout the next foreseeable future? Officer, your favorite officer from 2025, and either event store or other notable design change or quality of life update that you saw in 2025 that you wanted to highlight.
So I'm gonna the quality of life is, for me, hands down, is officer choice tokens, and the combine that with officer efficiency research and or favors.
Yep.
And that pretty much centers.
That's cheating. You can't pick two. That leaves nothing for the rest of us.
Yeah,
I kind of picked everything.
Well, no. I mean, for me, like, it is. I got to be able to use the officer efficiencies on those officers, and I was able to use my choice tokens for the other officers that weren't in those categories. So it was kind of like you have to put those two together to make my quality of life work properly. So it's overall, it's general. I was able to get so many more older officers, up to maximum tier. That for me was the best quality of life. It was a true actual catch up mechanic, which was nice. As for which loop, man, here's the problem. They're all bangers. 2025, especially for free to play, and I get to include the rev or the relativity there, even though it came out in 20. We didn't get it until 2025. It was the year of the ship. 2025 was the year of the ship. Every ship that came out had a significant loop that either gave you a whole bunch of speed ups, it gave you a whole bunch of mats, or it gave you a whole bunch of ship parts. It basically filled in for ops for G5 and G6 and probably G4, but for G5 and G6, it filled in all of the shortcomings that we were seeing. Before before Wrath of Khan, up through May, that was for free to play. That was, we are still on the old model, and we don't have enough ship parts, and we don't have enough mats, and we don't have enough XYZ. Once we started getting those ships one after another, and unlocking them, it has made progression not nearly as tedious, and also they were also so functional that realistically you get to pick and choose what FKR ship, if at all you want to build one, all the way through G6.
No, I agree with that. Did you have a officer that you really loved from 2025, a particular one?
Yeah, and Anorax. I
Anorax,
love
okay.
Anorax. And the fact that you could source him and how you could source him and whatnot. Yeah, I think that for a non-G7, he still is probably one of the most effective officers in the way he, in the stuff that he can help you with loot wise, and if you super boost him with Pike Moreau or Picard Bev, there's nothing in G5 or G6 that you can't handle.
I saw in the chat a couple of people asking about Pick Hugh. So Pick Hugh actually was not a 2025 officer. He came out with the other pick officers right here with the release of the NX-01, which was actually very early 2024. However, his sourcing significantly changed this year because of what Putz just talked about, which was the officer choice tokens. Or the officer depot tokens. So that really, really changed his sourcing and made him a very, very viable officer, especially for what some players are experiencing in late G6 and G7. So even though he was a 2024 officer, his sourcing, Jules, if you want to count that, his sourcing really changed because of the officer depot tokens and became a much larger influence on the game as a result of the officer depot tokens that were launched in 2025. So I think that's a good call out as well.
Indeed. We also got Matters and Karkin up here on the stage. Matters, did you have some prepared statements? I don't know why I said it that way.
Do you have your postcards ready?
I did have prepared statements till Putz went up and he was like, I'm going to pick everything so nobody else can do it.
Well, he's got the year of the ship, which allows you to pick one of those ships to be the best. So
it does. Okay. So we're talking loops that changed the game. I would say for me, personally, and I think for a lot of people, regardless of how much they think about it, the relativity was massive. It's this single loop that contributes the most to faction progression, the other faction progression, because you've got those Krenim invading entities with the rep that you can get from the encrypted intelligence is huge, especially for people like me who do not like to grind. I am not flying into Mirror Universe to grind out rep, but now that I've got my relativity up to max, I can hit one invading entity, and that's good for a couple billion rep for all three factions. It's good even at lower tiers, but it gets even better the more you grow the ship and hit higher targets. So that's huge. You do get a fair amount of faction credits out of those bundles for the formation armadas, and you get, epic G6 ship BPs. You start pulling them in starting at I think 61. Isn't that when it switches over to the? Yeah, you can start pulling in
tier 6.
Huge amounts of epic ship BPs to the point where some people they don't have to buy a single BP for faction credits when they get to 70.
Yeah, Matters. I have to tell you, I have been G6 since the beginning of October, and it's been October, November, December. I have on all three of the epic G6 ships, I have over 400 blueprints just from those chests.
There you go. That's massive. Huge benefit to people's game, to their entire game, to getting ready for G7. Huge benefit. And even G5. I mean, G5 players, they get the G5 epics. Everyone gets the ships that they're going to need.
Vul writes
unless they're camping at 60.
Yeah, Vul writes in chat, the DTI store got me all three epics essentially for free. And I think that is a very, very solid call out. Good call.
Massive.
And more than that, too, is the syndicate faction, too. Their syndicate rep in there was actually huge when that was launched. So, yeah.
Yeah. Still is pretty good for anyone that's not, what is it, 65 where it jumps over? Or
it's 50, I think 55 where 55. It jumps over. But I got to be honest with you, I still pull it. Now, even though the requirements for syndicate are significant, all right, I'm still pulling that because still to this day, it is a very, very large chunk of your daily syndicate. Now, if you are above 55, you can get 200,000 just out of your daily pull. That's fine. But you're still another 70,000. So, I mean, that's, roughly 40% of the rest of your daily income outside of the daily click. I mean, it could be more. I don't want to say that it's useless. It has less of an impact, admittedly, but it is still a large quantity. And as Benny Hill points out, more is more. And out of all the other sources that you have outside of your daily claim, it is still the highest one of Syndicate XP that pays. So, yeah, I agree. I like the DTI store. As a matter of fact, I spent a lot of time in the DTI store. And while we're talking about officers that came, I'm going to kind of mention this is, Seska, who came out at the same time as Anorex. So she is a 2025 officer as well. Matters when you point out, and Putz had mentioned Anorex being a great officer. Seska came in the exact same month. All right, Seska was there for the launch of the Relativity in February 2025, and she has also become very, very influential in G7. And she had, outside of the first 2 or 3 months, she also had unlimited, no cooldown sourcing. And that was something that Magoo just talked about in chat earlier. Anything without a cooldown is always going to be thumbs up in his book. And while you were limited on the credits, you could spend those credits however you wanted, even in full bulk. And a lot of people did that for Seska and was able to grind her out very, very early.
Absolutely.
So what was your premier officer? What was your favorite one of 2025?
Oof. I mean, obviously the ones that have already been mentioned are super powerful, and I do love them. The next one on my list would probably be Section 31 Giorgio, simply because her Apex Shred against hostiles has been really helpful for a lot of the newer stuff that's come out. She's a great sidecar for SNW Pike. Against some of these specialty hostiles that are coming at you that have a bunch of Apex barrier.
Very nice. Very nice. Yeah, no, I agree that she's been great to have as a synergy, too, for that Strange New Worlds group, which is just proving to be over and over again a great crew set for hostiles. What would you say would be like either a notable design change, event change, store change, or even a quality of life improvement that you wanted to highlight from 2025?
Oh, that one is harder. I don't know. I make do with whatever we got. So when they add quality of life changes, I just roll with it.
You don't have to pick just one.
Yeah. I'll have to pass.
It is.
Come
tough.
back to me. I'll think about it.
I was going to say it is
Totally
tough
fair.
because you try to you want to pick something that hasn't been mentioned already, and I know that a couple of the quality of life things have been mentioned. With the Loot Museum, that they call that, the Independent Archives, that's been a good one. The Claim All, which again has already been mentioned. I think those are all really, really nice. And
Is the Convert All your favorite, DJs?
The artifact slider. Yeah. Yep.
I'm not. I got to be honest with you. Okay, I'm not going to rank that as like my number one, but I got to be honest with you. It is very high on the list, and I'm going to tell you why. Coming up here, literally in 24 hours, we've got the launch of Alliance tournaments. Okay, this makes Alliance tournaments significantly easier when we're talking about clicks, and clicks are a big thing when we're talking about quality of life. So if we're talking about clicks, which you were talking about, Jules, you identified that as being a quality of life thing. I absolutely think it is. You know, before you were having to go through and click 20 or 25 of these things at a time. This convert all allows you to come in and pump out 125 of these things, which is the amount of shards needed to complete one of the Alliance tournament task for Temporal Disruptors. 125 of these shards give you exactly 15,000 of the Temporal Disruptors, and that makes that a very simple one click. So I like that. Jeff, have a wonderful night. Thank you. So, yeah, the artifact slider, I mean, that is a quality of life update. I would be willing to put that in my top 3, I think, out of the ones that have not been mentioned so far, of course. But yeah, that is a good one. I think that one absolutely deserves some credit. So I'm trying to remember, when did the officer...
Can I pick? Sorry.
I was just going to ask, when did officer filtering come as far as... I'm trying to remember. I feel like that is older than a year.
That was last year.
That was.
Okay. Filter button?
Yeah.
So Ram Scoop obviously brought up Artifact Slider as their preferred quality of life improvement. Ginge Bear also points out the bulk upgrade for Officer XP as a quality of life improvement for them.
I do.
And please feel free to voice out in chat. I'm watching the Twitch chat. I'm watching our chat room and our studio chat room as well. So please go ahead and put what you felt was the best 2025 in there. So would you have one in particular, Matters, that you want me to actually write down, or
yeah,
leave
like,
it as, there's a lot, there's not.
And take it away from our last options. We're running out.
I don't know if it counts, because it's kind of also a loop, but I won't say that the entire loop was massive or impactful, but the inclusion of the older credits in the solo wave armadas was very nice. I consider that a quality of life improvement. So
replacing a loop
by doing the solo waves, you wouldn't have to do the group ones.
Right, definitely. Definitely. I think that was great too, because I remember when that loop came out, DJs and this whole panel was on the stage just trying to like map out what solo, what elite do you need to hit to maximize this particular loot type. So I liked that aspect where you kind of had a little bit of choice with how you wanted to attack it. And particularly not having to depend on finding a team to run a group wave was really great to keep those original loops up. So Karkin, we were going to come to you next, and clearly you're stressing out over not having enough options. So I see that Destros is joining the stage.
I even had a backup, and then bam, go on.
I got one for you if you wanted it, but
hasn't been mentioned that I think I could maybe bring light to is that the way they've altered or brought back or reinvigorated old officers by limiting what we can actually use. And I don't know if it's good or bad, but they've definitely opened up different options for creating more specific officers in the future, as well as brought back certain officers that we could only use in such a, so all of it bad because all of this effort that we put into all these, awesome new officers that we can't even use, but brings back some of the old things that, I do like that it made you have to think and come up with new crews and new aspects before, not just the cookie cutter of the current time. So.
And I think it's interesting to see where they've succeeded and where they've failed. And I say fail as in they didn't actually understand how those officers worked in a lot of cases, or how the triggers were being put in place. Invading entities being the biggest one here, where they said, hey, it's a new type of hostile. But then we realized anything that was and, or, neither, nor, like all of these weird rules that didn't specifically exclude invading entities or weren't specific against a one type all worked. So that created a whole new checkerboard of figuring out what crews work. And luckily Quasel and Lipo have now developed a tool that we can immediately, when they launch a new quote unquote type of target, we can identify exactly what crews work. So I actually do agree, Karkin. I think that this has been a very interesting year for crewing, just entirely, and not only getting all of the new officers in there, but also having to figure out how to crew those.
in many different situations, for the different aspects. Which brings me to, I suppose, I will steal Suitor as my officer of choice.
All right.
The hero of the day, Suitor.
Suitor has been a great officer. I mean, this entire set was really very good. Suitor, Seska, Anorax, all of those were very, very good that came out of that month. And I'm going to argue, even with the first month of Year of Hell, January, I don't know that I'm going to lean really heavily into Specialist 7, but Icheb and Infiltrator Tuvok have also been very, very influential in the world of PvP. Maybe slightly accidental, but they have been influential in PvP combat. So, you take a look at Year of Hell, you've got these 6 officers, Anorex, Seska, Suitor, Specialist 7, Icheb, and Infiltrator Tuvok. 5 of those have very, very solid use cases even today. And these officers are 12 months old now. So I think that's a good call out. And I remember that, Otter, when they came out, everyone was like, these are useless. I was admittedly there when I was talking about Icheb and Tuvok specifically. Who runs without a state? Well, because of how combat works in this game, it's not even, again, that's why I say it was maybe a little bit of an accident, Jules, because these officers probably weren't designed to be as influential as they are. But because of the mechanical combat engine, all right, they actually ended up being much more valuable because of the way the checks and balances or the order of operations works in PvP combat. Now, Magu says Specialist 7 is pretty meta in PvP. J-Boo saying the same thing. Absolutely monster. Sugar Red saying Specialist 7 is a monster. So if that's the case, and again, I can fully admit that PvP is, while interesting to me, it's just not something I'm competitive in anymore. That would make all 6 of these officers that came out of Voyager's Year of Hell arc would make all 6 of these officers beasts in the game here 12 months later. And I think that's solid. All right. I mean, if you're looking back and you're looking at the effect of these officers in the game today, all 6 of them are still valuable here 12 months later. And I think that says a lot about the design of those officers.
So are we saying they kind of peaked in January and February? Because
well, I mean,
because the ship was one of the better ones, and the officers were.
It was certainly a really solid arc, and I remember, people joked about it being Year of Hell, and honestly, 2025 did kind of shape up, at least from community perspective, did really feel like a Year of Hell. However, when you look at these officers, when you look at what was developed this year, it really, I think this is why Jules wanted to kind of have this conversation, because really, truthfully, are we better off than we were in December of 2024? I think the answer is definitively yes. So if game design was not the ones who struck out this year, then where was it that we actually struck out? And it came in customer service. It came in communication. It came in failed implementation, because the game design actually looked like it ended up being pretty decent throughout most of the year. Look, you're talking Giorgio picked out as a solid officer of the year. Joaquin picked out as a solid officer of the year. Tarpey picking out Carol Marcus as a solid officer of the year. And they haven't come to me yet, but chat, I got you. Strange New Worlds to Pring being a very solid sleeper. Now, not going to be my number 1 pick, Jules, but out of the officers that haven't been picked yet, I think that is a very, very solid officer. Havermeyer says Strange New Worlds to Pring is extremely underrated. You know who else is underrated that I'm surprised we haven't talked about yet is Rachel Garrett. All right. Rachel Garrett, also, I believe, a pretty underrated officer that came out this year. I mean, she was phenomenal for loot, but also provided synergy to another loot officer. She was literally more powerful than 5 of 11 when you paired her up with Picard. I think Rachel Garrett was another really, really incredibly powerful officer this year for mechanics in the form of loot. So, those are, officers that haven't been selected yet. I'm going to put those on my list, Jules.
Agreed. So, Karkin, I don't know if you had
You stole my list again. That was it. I was about to say that, and he took it.
You already went. No, but I wanted to say, like, did you have like a loop or a feature or something that came as far as like a design in this game that you wanted to point out as saying the best 2025?
Well, as Tarpy mentioned, the auto grind aspect has been, I was one of those free to play that took my time and just basically auto grind my way to Khan and Josham. Took me a bunch longer, but it was definitely grind free. So
you want to point out the argument loop as probably the best?
I did like that.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think that's definitely valid. I think there was other people in the chat that are agreeing with you. I think Coach here in the Talking chat room said Wrath of Khan was the best arc. It's not close, and I would have to agree. I think there's a lot of people that would agree with you there.
And just the expansion of that whole auto grind feature throughout the year, like you said, with outposts and thing, that was my go-to one. But let's see if I can expand on any of the. No, it's so good. You got to go first.
It's perfectly fine to share the best of, because that's kind of what we're doing right now. We are panelists here. We're discussing what's the best here, and if one thing is clearly the best, it should be mentioned multiple times. It deserves multiple accolades. Before we jump over to Destros, as we're going to wrap up with DJ's comments, because we obviously have to stick the host of this show with.
Before we jump off me, can I just make one more point?
Go ahead, please.
I have enjoyed the cutback in the officers that they're giving out, simply because it finally allowed me to get my last Pokemon. All my officers are collected. And I think that might have been because they weren't throwing 3 at us every month. So.
I see. Okay, so you're saying
I finally
slow down a release of new officers.
The dog caught the rabbit.
Yeah. Okay. I have a question for you. I have a question for you, Karkin. In the past, obviously, we've had multiple rarities of officers offered in a month, in a release, in an arc, some down to even uncommon grade. If they only released Epic and only one Epic every year, do you think that would be a good design? Is that like a takeaway?
Every year or every arc? Sorry.
Every arc, excuse me. Every arc, if they only released one Epic officer, do you think that is a good takeaway from what your feedback is about making these officers acquirable? Or is there was the correct sourcing model this year by providing less officers and more opportunities for sourcing? What would be the takeaway you want game design to hear?
Well, that's interesting, because you always want, more, to be chasing an officer. It's always good to have something to be looking forward to getting and everything. That's also a good feeling to finally, finish them all and, not necessarily get locked out of ones. But eventually you're always worried that, the next one's going to be too hard to get, or it's going to be buy and pay only, or it's going to be a year down the line. But it's kind of hard to say, because they've altered the meaning of what it is to have a rare officer or epic officer. You could the value of a thing that isn't based on its rarity or its thing. It's just how much it costs. So having more rare ones would be nice, but is that better for Scopely? Like, let's just make everything epic, and then it takes that much longer. We don't have to give out these easily grabbed things unless we're going to make it pay for it. But seeing more of I guess we did see a few rare ones back up for just not this last few months. We've been a straight epic for these last few. So I did like the rare officers, but that was also came with the event stores, that we haven't seen rare officers in the event store for a while. If they're going to limit what is available, I guess that comes back to what they're offering in the.
Yeah, I do want to point out on DJ's screen right now, he's showing Strange New Worlds Black Ops Chapel as the last rare officer released, and that was back in August. We have not had a new rare officer release since then. Is that a trend that we want to continue? Is kind of the open question for the community. Thanks. I will come back if there's any other.
The short answer is no. Long answer is way more complicated. I want more officers, but I'm happy that I finally finished getting mine.
See, I don't know. I feel like I have enjoyed a more simplistic sourcing model. I obviously I do like rare officers. However, rare officers traditionally have been sold only. until later sourcing comes about. You always have the material spends in the month, right? But rare officers, at least in the very beginning of the year and throughout most of 2024, that was a $50 pack or a $100 pack to go tier 2. And that was it. You know, so I'm hesitant on saying, hey, yeah, bring back more rares unless you're going to come up with a creative way to source those as well, because they were mostly paid at that time. That being said, a more simplistic approach to these officers dates back all the way to the Big Country days and the Bubba Joe days when we're talking about, listen, it should be possible for full engagement, even aggressive engagement, but it should be possible for the vast majority of fully engaged players to be able to unlock all the officers that are presented in a month. And I feel like they have done better with that in the second half of the year here, starting kind of with the Strange New Worlds officers. And the reason I point out Strange New Worlds is because you also, in that same Wrath of Khan month, all right, introduce Strange New Worlds officers that did, in fact, receive the benefits of the away team's assignment research efficiencies for Strange New Worlds. So here were brand new Strange New Worlds officers that came out that immediately got cost savings because of the research efficiencies that were available in their opening arc. That right there, that pattern started a better sourcing of officer. And then from there, Jules, you started cutting back on the number of officers. So we as players were able to kind of hone in and focus in on where these last 5 officers were going to come from. And we were able to kind of dump in or focus our efforts onto doing that. Officer shards still do have a value in the game, but with fewer officers, there's less diversity in those officer shard rewards. So if they're going to give an officer shard, then it is always the same officer shard. So I kind of want to know, just out of curiosity in the chat, Karkin here, very, very low spend, albeit arguable, mostly free-to-play player, just said that he unlocked all the officers this year. I think that's really telling, right? How many of you guys who are free to play or very, very low spend still ended up unlocking majority of the officers or unlock them within their month or very shortly thereafter? I think that was a solid thing. And as we're pointing out in chat right now, as Belgrace and B. Smith are talking about, Strange New Worlds Black Ops Chapel is still not sourced. She was a pay officer in her month of release and still doesn't have sourcing.
She does in the Squall.
She is in the Squall. Okay, take it back then. The Squall.
I mean, I don't
refinery.
think you can max her, but in tiering the Squall, you do get Chapel.
In tiering the Squall.
Yep. So particular tiers, I'm sure Jules's spreadsheets will tell us exactly, but she is in the Squall.
Yeah, I see it. Well, those are it. Yeah, the
I'm
tier
looking
up.
now.
Yeah, the tier up rewards is where you get her. So I mean, that's a very limited.
Well,
that's a
actually,
finite
tier
supply.
10. No, tier 10 plus, you actually get a drip for her. But it doesn't show, you get 1, 3, or 5. We don't know the chance rate. So there is a consistent drip once you get to tier 10. Now, that is only for G5 plus, and this being a 4-generational ship. That doesn't mean that everyone has access to that, and it does take quite a long time to actually get up to that tier 10 spot. Multiple months, and probably almost a year for some players, particularly if you are starting in the G3 realm and you have to wait until you get all the way up to G5. But yes, available there.
Yeah, and obviously reminding that she does have the Strange New Worlds efficiency. Cruzito saying that if you do have Strange New Worlds efficiency, you can still get her unlocked from the early tiers of the Squall, but maxing then obviously going to come from the drip a little bit later, but being a little faster because she is a Strange New Worlds officer, so it does get advantage of that Strange New Worlds officer efficiency there within the away team's research tree that came with Wrath of Khan. So, you know, yeah, I just kind of come back and I summarize. I don't know that I agree, Karkin, with wanting more officers. I've kind of always argued for a little bit more of of a targeted approach. And I think more players have more officers this year than what we would have seen in the past. I mean, you even said, I got them all, right? I mean, is that not a feat? Is that not a positive change as compared to how they sourced officers in 2024?
Oh yeah, it was going to be my main go-to, but then it didn't fit the parameters of Jules's questions, so I had to toss it in at the end as an add-on.
I got you.
Appreciate that.
It's your fault, Jules. All right.
Rewrite the script. I love it. I did want to get to Destros before, but I do have a couple of things that came from the chat that I wanted to read out. Papa Smurf, our creator of this arc history, had added, and these are some of the quality life improvements or other features that people really enjoyed. The mastery artifacts are pretty cool, giving a buff and a daily drip of stuff. I thoroughly agree. I think the master artifacts were a great one. And I'm going to butcher this name, XDJ VLAD. Ship XP, author XP being auto upgraded, including the button to upgrade buildings, mass upgrade buildings. Yep. Those are pretty great. And then having a max slider on auto. So every time you go into a slider, it's already put up to max.
I love that.
Ripley Gatto. Yeah, Ripley Gatto saying survey ship XP for mining is nice. Thumbs up. So just a few of the quality life improvements that have been pointed out in the chat. But before you take everyone's thunder, we still have Destros here to provide his options for what is the best of 2025. Destros, welcome.
Thank you. And it's good you got to me because a lot of my first choices have been taken. So we're pulling on the second string here.
What you're saying is we're pulling on the anchor to really bring this home.
Absolutely.
So what kind of loops do you think, or whether that be ships or mechanics or anything else that has really changed the game for the long term? What officers do you think you're going to be using daily? And then also if you have any event, store, or other notable design changes, including quality life improvements that you wanted to point out.
So I think if we're looking back on what's going to be the most impactful for the entire rest of STFC, without a doubt, the Dauntless is going to be huge. The fact that it can go out and auto grind for you, and you can get rewards in whatever place that you want for just clicking a few buttons and then walking away, and can't be undersold ever. Especially with how historically we have gotten a lot of time-intensive things that, if they ever go back to this trend or ever go back to the model of active engagement, things like that, being able to go out and throw it in Mirror Universe or throw it out in some new space that comes in the future will absolutely be a time saver for everyone. DJs was talking about it last night. You can send that bad boy into Mirror Universe, get 3-4 days of speed ups from two starts. So that's incredible. We haven't had something like that yet, and definitely deserves a shout out. As far as officers, it's funny, in the stage chat, you and I were throwing back some memes, and you threw at me Tuvok doing a mind melded tutor, and he was going to be my choice of officer for most impactful of the year, because whole health repair has come back in a huge way since we started getting into G7, and he and PQ are the only two officers who provide us whole health regen, and
if you want to take Studer, I'll switch to Savick.
Ooh.
Are we like trading cards now?
I have a solid second choice.
Trading cards?
Right. And my solid second choice is actually Walk Montgomery Scotty, giving us that lower deck quantum slipstream drivability to put onto a second ship or first ship if you haven't unlocked the quantum slipstream drive yet.
And I think Scotty is a little bit underrated for his loot gain that he'll give to Armada loot, mostly because I don't think people have tiered him pretty high yet. I mean, his sourcing is still low. I don't think he's in Officer Depot tokens yet.
I almost said him. It was a toss-up for him and whoever it was that I picked.
The steering cost for them is a lot. Sorry.
No, but you're right. You're absolutely right. Like the acquisition of him and getting him tiered up a lot has been challenging for a lot of players. But once he is actually up there, like he's got a lot of abilities that are going to be really good long term. So tier 4, tier 5 is really where he shines, and not many people have gotten him to that point to actually utilize him. So I think Destro's, you're probably giving feedback now that people in late 2026 being like, yeah, Scotty has been the best for me.
Yeah, I might be a full year ahead looking into the future here.
And I think that's actually a really fair perspective. I see this in chat. Omicron says, free to play haven't even unlocked the Dauntless. How can we consider that impactful? And it's kind of the same thing Dastros is saying now, looking into the future. And even for players who are coming up into some of this content right now, I think it's also a little bit of a good peek into the crystal ball for you to say, hey, listen, okay, here are some officers that should be worth a little bit more attention and a little bit more chase. Yes, I agree. The Dauntless is not free to play for 14 more days. However, it's a very, very important ship. And if you are just now getting to the point where it is something you can focus on, it does deserve focus because it is very influential for those who do have it. And when we're talking about the content that was released in 2025, it obviously does deserve to be included in that. Just like we talked about the relativity that came in January. Most free-to-play didn't get it until April, but for January, that's the content that it came in, and DTI was an influential loop that came in 2025. So, yeah, Dauntless, I agree with the Omicron. The free-to-play, I don't even have it yet. 14 more days in the books. But it is absolutely a ship worth focusing on. If we were to look at other specialty ships, I'm going to come back to Dastros in a second. Sorry, I didn't mean to run off the rails here. But if you look at, for example, the Vindicator, okay? Now that this ship has been out for a full year, 14 months, in fact, would we consider the Vindicator a ship worth chasing, a ship worth investing in? Even now, 14 months later, I'm going to say no. All right. Does it have its perks? Does it have its abilities? Sure, it does. Okay. But it's not going to be at the top of my list of something that I am chasing. All right. So Matter says he disagrees. The ship does have some capabilities at very, very high tiers. I'm not going to take that away. But for the common player, is this a ship that deserves priority? No. And it's 14 months later. Now, again, it's 2024 content. But if we're comparing the Vindicator that came out at the end of 24, and we're comparing the Dauntless that's coming out at the end of 25, which one is going to be more impactful in 12 months? Oh, it's going to be the Dauntless by 1,000%.
That's, I don't know, because, I mean, what can you...
They have two different jobs.
The Dauntless will be a time saver for sure, but what are you getting from the Dauntless or its loop that is better than like maxing out all of Lorca's skills? I mean, and that's what you get from the Vindicator is Lorca's skill point acquisition.
You do get Lorca skill points, but even having, you only increase the speed at which you're getting those. You still get them. I'm still getting Fleet Commander skill points from a tier 5 or a tier 6 Vindicator. I'll get them faster, but you know what I'm getting? You mentioned this. What am I getting from the Dauntless? What am I getting from that loop? I'll tell you, I'm getting Sigma speed ups, and it's not from the loop. It's an indirect effect of the Dauntless. I am now re-engaged with Mirror Universe on a very, very heavy level. And how many of us could have said that? I mean, I know some people could. Dragon Keeper says all the time, I'm out. How many of you guys can be like Dragon Keeper and say, I'm actually out of the tokens that grant me access to the Mirror Universe? Some of you guys have done that. Some of you guys are very, very low or even completely out on entering the Mirror Universe. All right. Now, I kind of understand Lost In says you're comparing apples and oranges, but am I? Right? Like the Dauntless, while its loop may not give me that, because of the Dauntless, I am more engaged with Mirror Universe, which is feeding me days, multiple days, months worth of Sigma speed ups. And as you guys have seen from the G7 upgrade costs, the necessity to max G6 research before you can even start G7 research, Sigma speed ups are crucially important, and the single best source of those, aside from Master E artifacts, come from the Dallas. And its ability to passively grind those things out for you. You are ending up with, as we estimated the other day, between 4 and 5 days of Sigma speed ups every single day for free from a tier 6 Dauntless. I think that is substantial.
So Destros, I wanted to get to the last question for you, which was event store, other notable design change or quality life update that you wanted to highlight from 2025.
Oh, we lost Destros.
May have lost Destros.
No, there he is. There he is. Okay.
I'm back. Sorry. Internet was a little pretty over here. So the thing that I'm actually going to say here is I'm not going to say a particular feature. I'm going to say something from the store and take a little different tact. And it's going to be the Officer Depot tokens. Originally, it was supposed to be just a short-term feature that eventually got converted to a long-term permanent feature. And its ability to source officers is unmatched. And we've even seen in the last few months where they've gone and started adding things, like we saw the first batch of walk officers get added into there. So, you know, like we can max out Tarpey's favorite walk Carol Marcus from there. So longevity-wise, it feels like this might be, in my eyes, how they're going to continue to source officer after their release going forward. And I think that's going to be phenomenal because it'll let you as a player decide who you want to focus and at what points in time. And it's just incredible to see them find a new unique way to give us the officers that we want without forcing us to spend our materials or resources any one given month just to get them because we don't know when they'll come back. Now we can say, hey, look, in X amount of months, we should see them in Officer Depot tokens.
Do you think?
Yeah, and I do hope that they continue to add to that.
For sure. I was going to ask Dastros, and they have been. Dastros, do you see Officer Depot tokens as a suitable replacement for Ultra Recruit tokens? I remember when Ultra Recruit tokens took a little bit of a nosedive, right? That happened when they introduced the new set of daily mini events. It happened when they launched Ahead of the Curve, which I do believe actually happened this year. I don't know that is actually going to be
exactly a year ago.
Exactly a year ago.
From
So
right now.
December.
It was mid-month patch. Yeah.
So that was when the new daily minis and Ahead of the Curve launched, and there was a lot of outcry from the community about the loss of Ultra Recruit tokens. Do you feel that Scopely actually had this plan? Did they luck into it? Or do you see now Officer Depot tokens have been a successful supplement to Ultra Recruit tokens?
I think they were originally planning on the fancy new ones that we got last year as being the replacements Officer Depot tokens, and it didn't succeed in the way they wanted to, and lucked into Officer Depot tokens being a true successor to Ultra Recruit tokens without any of the RNG that plagued players.
I think we lost Astros there. Was he finished with his thought? Yeah, okay. I didn't know if you were finished with your thought. You kind of broke up there a little bit.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I do in fact think that Officer Depot tokens are the true spiritual successor to Ultra Recruit tokens.
Jules, there was a lot of conversation when Ultras did take that sourcing nosedive. Do you think that this ended up being a successful next generation, so to speak? Cruzito's even mentioning them as the new version of transporter patterns, which also was a beloved mechanic and has fallen off. We've not seen as many officers getting added to the transporter store. Are the Officer Depot tokens, is this the new, better, more successful way to source older officers?
To Cruzito's point, though, if they stop adding officers, it will be going the way of transporter patterns. But here is the thing that's different. So many events depend on us valuing those officer depot tokens that they have to continue to add newer officers to that selection so that all players find the same value in those tokens to begin with. Whereas transporter patterns was more of a quality of life improvement if you already had a bunch of officers maxed. So I think that, yes, it does go more to the way of ultra recruits than it does going towards transporter patterns by providing continued value for something you may be earning through events or grind or pay or whatever format you're going to be earning those tokens in. But just in the same way, those other avenues, we have to have that be continued and continue to grow and continue to be added to.
Interesting that we're looking here. The most recent officers that do exist inside Officer Depot tokens is lagging a little behind. May of 2025 was the last update to the Officer Depot token store. So if we were offering a little bit of feedback, I think it may be, hey, let's not go too long. I mean, May of 25 is 6 months, which means what I would expect to see with a pretty quick turnaround is the addition of Savick and Scotty in there and some of the other Strange New Worlds officers. Now, T'Pring has her own sourcing. DeChalk, I don't believe, is in here. And neither is Strange New Worlds Scotty. So I don't believe. Let me double check Strange New Worlds Scotty. No, he is not
but
here.
But additionally, I will say that there is a lot of other officers that are currently unsourced in the game. I saw hashtag free Tal so many times in the Twitch chat already today.
Yeah.
But also Mir Uhura, who is only currently available through the Arena faction store. So is that going to be something they can kind of provide additional sourcing for the people who are demanding specific officers to be added that may even be older than 2025? Will be interesting. You are the last to present STFC, and we do have a second segment we can do maybe after an ad break, but I wanted to see, DJs, if you wanted to add to this either with your own best of 2025.
You know, I've kind of been adding commentary as we go along, but I think if I'm looking at the year holistically, I think where Scopely has had their biggest win this year has been with the specialty ships. These 5 specialty ships this year have been, bar none, the best set of specialty ships that we've ever received. You look at 2024, as we had mentioned, the NX-01, the Eviscerator. The Eviscerator went over a year, and could not even reach its own systems with warp range. Okay? You've got the Protector, which has... It had some utility in arenas that was nerfed. All right. I think the Protector is extremely subpar in its use today. The Vindicator, again, Matters is gonna argue with that. The Vindicator is purely a refinery ship. The Revenant, I do like the Revenant. And the Revenant came in December of 24. The Revenant is a great source of materials. So I think that is a fantastic refinery ship. And the Revenant does have utility. I use the Revenant for its speed capabilities. I've used the Revenant for other things outside of those assimilated hostiles for sure. So I like the Revenant, but being that it was a 2024 ship. But I'm just saying, starting with the Revenant, you saw a big turnaround in the thought that went into specialty ships. 2024 doesn't even compare to 2025 when it comes to specialty ships. And again, now that I know, or now that we acknowledge, for example, that the Dauntless is very, very early in its life cycle, I still find it to be one of my favorite ships of the year. I think where Fleet Command really, really, really excelled this year is in the specialty ships. I do kind of see Cruzito's point. I saw this in the Discord chat. Cruzito and Stefan have both indicated that, hey, a ton of auto grind is not engaging. That's not what I want to do because it's passive, right? So while I do enjoy that form of gameplay, and I understand why a lot of people do, Tarpy does, some people have busier lives and or have less time to be able to play. I acknowledge that the passive is attractive to me, but I do also absolutely see Cruzito's point is, hey, we want to play the game so that we can play the game, right? We want to be able to come in and engage. It just needs to be balanced in such a way that it's not too much or too little at any given time. And so I think that that's an important point to note. I feel like they have been a little bit blocky with their engagement arcs this year. Like we've had 2 or 3 that were heavy, and then we've had 2 or 3 that were very passive. But for the year, it's been kind of half and half. So I think that that's a decent blend. But definitely the specialty ships have been a big thing. And as far as my feature of the year, Jules, I know, started with it at the very beginning. But hands down, my feature of the year has been what they call shared space, the Veil. I have very much enjoyed the Veil, and that is specifically from a community standpoint. All right. I know that not everybody loves the gameplay of the Veil. Totally understand that. Totally acknowledge that. People may not appreciate the gameplay of the Veil. It is challenging. It makes it possible to be entered into new conflicts and things that you can't control and things that you can't retaliate against. But from a community standpoint, I have loved the Veil. And for me, Jules, that simply comes down to being able to play with more players, play with new players, and be able to communicate and meet new players. It's what I always loved about incursions. It's what I've loved about arenas. Even though those gameplay mechanics have become stale, Veil Space has allowed me, again, another outlet to meet more people within this game. And from a community perspective, that is the most outstanding thing, because that is why we play the game. Okay? We have said for years that the biggest reason a vast majority of us are still playing in this game is because of community and because of relationships that have been formed. I talk to people in my Veil all the time. And Paulo says 95% of players have never played in the Veil, and I'm going to chalk that one up to the same thing as the Dauntless. Yes, free-to-play are not likely playing in the Veil right now. Free-to-play don't have the Dauntless right now, but I feel like these are things that you will be able to look forward to. Martok disagrees. He says the Veil sucks. And again, that might be the mechanics. That might be your interaction. That might be, the chaos that exists within your Veil. But for me, and this is why I have this very important disclaimer, for me, it is the community piece of it. You see what I'm saying? It's the community piece of it. It's the being able to talk and play with new players, and I've enjoyed that. That's been the standout feature. And while I do understand a lot of players are not there and haven't been able to experience that yet, I feel like that's something that you can look forward to. I think you can look forward to that. I think you can look forward to the Dauntless, and I think those are very, very good things to look forward to this year. As far as an officer, I kind of mentioned, without repeating myself, or repeating the other officers from the rest of the panel, I like to bring. I think Strange New Worlds T'Chak is also kind of a silent winner. He's great in Outpost. He is a generic damage boost officer that works everywhere, including Outpost. So when you're talking about trying to find additional crews, as we are going to end up with more ships that can fight in Outpost, it's going to be very important for us to have officers that actually do trigger in Outpost. And I think T'Chak is one of those good underdeckers that work in Outpost. And so I think he's kind of a silent officer there that has some utility as well. So I feel like they've done a decent job with officer design this year as well. As far as the mechanics of the year, Jules, they've come up with a couple of good ones. They've also come out with a couple of turds. I hated Shred. All right, Cruzito's going to argue with me on Shred. Yep. I hated Shred. Yeah. All right, I know Cruzito.
I remember those conversations.
Oh, I hated it. I hated it. I still hate it. All right. However, I might be able to be swayed as to why it had to come. I still think it's a crappy mechanic. But it for me, that was a strikeout. Okay. However, with some of the other things, I like the mastery artifacts, but we also did have a couple of introductions of new mathematical components this year. Hypothermic decay, while it's kind of simple, that is a new mathematical component. We are factoring that in to our data calculations and our combat strategies now. And I think that that is kind of a cool thing. I hope that they use hypothermic decay and hypothermic stabilizer a little bit more throughout their future content. I kind of like that. Bulk upgrade obviously was a big thing for me as well. So I think those have been good. But yeah, I'm not as crazy on some of these other features and so forth that have been launched. I like some of the quality of life stuff that you guys have talked about with the bulk upgrades and mining XP doesn't help for me. That's why I like the ship upgrade. I love to be able to click a single button and throw all that syndicate or the ship XP at it. Even if it converts to Latinum, it saves me a lot of time. So I'm there. Yeah, see, I knew Cruzito was going to come right back at me with Shred. He says it was a necessity to keep PvP competitive. But just like with isolytic damage, they just went bonkers with it way too fast. Oh, I agree. Even isolytic damage, which is not a 2025 mechanic, but I was very critical of how quickly they escalated those statistics as well. Now, it's funny. You look at isolytic damage, and that's not a 2025 mechanic, but look at it now, Cruzito. Isolytic damage and isolytic defense, they're really not factors anymore. All right, so it was basically a checksum feature. They introduced isolytic damage, which was way too much, way too fast. Isolytic defense then quickly caught up, and now what do you have? You have a situation where isolytic is impactful, but not nearly as impactful as it was. Isolytic defense has balanced out the massive overkill of isolytic damage, and then they came out with Shred and Apex Barrier. Apex Barrier, I think, was a very, very good thing for the game. Apex Shred ruined it. So, I don't know. I feel like they've missed the mark with some of those mechanics, but I do like where game design has been solid this year, which has been with the ships, the specialty ships. I think that's been a high point for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you hate Shred in PvE? Or is it strictly PvP?
No. Yeah, it's PvP. Honestly, I like Shred and I like Barrier. Good. I like Shred and I like Barrier in PvE mechanics, mainly because they're in such smaller numbers. They're more impactful matters. All right. We've kind of talked as a community like, oh, well, we're going to pick up 300 Barrier from doing this research. Yeah, I know it's a really small number, but that makes it more impactful. All right. And when you're looking at Shred in PvP, that makes it more impactful when it's a smaller amount. So I like the mechanic in PvE, which is ultimately where 95% of us live in this game. All right. 95% of us progress and live within what we can accomplish in the PvE aspects of the game. Let's face it, PvP may be fun for some people. It used to be fun for more people. It may be fun for a limited number of players today, but it rewards you literally nothing. Very, very little. It rewards you. PvE is the core of progression in this game. So, yeah, I like the smaller numbers, and I like the more subtle approach to what Shred and Barrier have done in PvE.
Okay, writing down that DJs loves Apex Shred. Got it.
You're a son of a biscuit.
Hey, we will clip that and make sure that is forever remembered. One of the things there's a few things that I actually had listed down on this that people actually hadn't touched on this panel, and I want to kind of point that out. Maybe as good things, maybe not as good things. Probably not the best of 2025, but arenas making it public matches actually happened in February of 2025. Before, it was only your alliance squads. And I think that was the only reason for me to actually participate in arenas. Whether or not I like arenas or not, it actually saved that mechanic. So I think that as a design change was probably one of the most positive changes that they actually made to arenas.
I will agree with
Destros, that. We have a match back in September, and I remember that very clearly. And that even Mimi, just last week, I was able to kill one of Mimi's ships, and I was so excited. And then Mimi immediately killed one of my ships. And I was like, okay, I'm done today. I'm just done. I'm done with arenas. But that was so much fun.
You're right. All right. Arenas had potential. I think what turned me off to arenas was just how much worse they made it. Despite the fact that public squads became a thing, that needed to happen. But still, like I'm going to say something really unpopular here. The first run of arenas was still the best.
Absolutely.
With 5v5?
That's not unpopular.
Yeah, I do think 5v5. It added a little bit of chaos. It was the engineering that ruined it, and then the further tinkering and the constant Jenga style testing and modifications that they made to it literally ruined arenas for me. All right, I don't play them at all anymore. I haven't played them in months, and I loved that mechanic when it first came out. And while there were problems, okay, I know that there were players who couldn't play, and I acknowledge that. I think literally almost every change that they made to arenas was a step backwards. Okay.
And I'm going to disagree in the fact that it made public because it was the first taste of playing with people from different servers, not against them necessarily, like who you would have in incursions, and you only get randomly matched up with players. This is the first time that you had a bunch of your community come up and play with you on an arena squad.
I know.
You booted people to make room for people. And I think that was the taste of what was then going to become regional space in G7. That's what I like about
all happened before they messed it up. All right. The impulse cap ruined it. Dropping it down to 3 removed some of the strategy. When you removed the number of ships, because it was impossible to target them all. Okay. When you drop down to 3 players, it actually made it really possible for a whale still to steamroll that thing. Okay. Then you added the impulse cap, which meant I couldn't even outrun them. Do you remember we were so excited, Jules, about the circle strategy? All right. We were so excited about being able to time our entry into the circle with speed. All right. And that's not a thing anymore. You know, so I acknowledge that public arenas were fantastic, but all the other changes that they made to arenas still ruined the mechanic. And I go back to saying, you know, month 1, as far as the mechanic of arenas, was still the best. If they had done month 1 and then made it public, that would have solved the original problem. All right. I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say, here's all you needed to do with arenas. Okay. You had 5v5. You had no impulse caps. All right. But we didn't have public squads, which is what prevented people from being able to play. Okay. Then they dropped it to 3v3, but then made it public. All right. Go back to 5v5, eliminate the impulse cap, make it public, ban the cube. Arenas would be great again. Okay. I'm dead ass serious.
Well, moving off that part, I do wanted to point out a few other things that happened in 2025, whether good or bad. I think, you know, we've been talking about how the Serene Squall was a great ship and what it does has been great, but also just the pure fact that almost every single artifact in the game is sourced through the transigen loop.
Yeah.
Whether or not the transigen loop itself is good and we enjoy it, it has been the single best sourcing for artifacts, which have been proven to be the best research tray, if we can call it that, in the game. So just want to applaud that loop for being so open in its sourcing for all of the different artifacts, whether or not we like that. A couple of other event series that I actually came about in 2025. Now, this one technically came in the mid-month patch of December, the Boldly Go series. That was Makala's Crucible or various other versions of the Boldly Go. That series of events and that style of event was actually really a 2025 product.
It was brain trusted. We actually got it right about now, a year ago. We're literally
right
at the 1 year
Christmas.
anniversary. It was right after Christmas, leading into January of 2025. Boldly Go was absolutely phenomenal. I wish we saw it more. I missed that event series. That is absolutely a huge one. Taking one step back, I'm going to give credit to Tarpy for talking about the artifacts in the transigen loop. I know you said that we didn't spend enough time on that, but Tarpy did call out that the artifacts from the Squall, I mean, that was her favorite loop of the year, not because of the loop being engaging. It's an annoying loop, but it is extremely rewarding, and I agree with that. But yeah, Boldly Go, great. I see in the chat, you can't ignore Crucible. Chronicle of the Ascendant. That was a great event iteration in the beginning. I think that it has gotten worse throughout the year, but it is ultimately still a decent event series, and it does provide some sourcing for players who can partially participate. I am on record of saying that we as a community do need to grasp the concept of not necessarily having to do it all. I give a lot of credit to content creator James Bond for being the absolute torchbearer in the fight against FOMO. All right. For me, Chronicle of the Ascendant has become exactly that. It is the event that forces us to fight the FOMO. Okay. And on my screen right now is exactly what I'm talking about. For those in podcast, in this most recent Chronicle of the Ascendant, I scored 300 points. The max of the milestone was 500. Did I do the material spend? No. Could I do the building material one on day one? No, I could not. But the ship upgrade, the artifact upgrade, the officer depot tokens, those are relatively simple for a lot of players. The material spend was too much. The building material is too tight. I couldn't do it. But you know what? I still scored 30 epic shards out of that. And actually, technically, 60. All right? I scored 60 shards because I got 30 out of the meta, and I got 10 out of each of the individual solo milestones that presented along with it. So, and you might have actually gotten a couple of extra, depending on how you did in the solo leaderboards that presented each day. So, Chronicle of the Ascendant, I think, started out much, much better than how it ended, but overall is still a wonderful event series that pays a lot of players pretty well for using their specialty materials. Paulo says it's the other way around. We FOMO for that event. And I can see that point. You save throughout the month to be able to participate in that event, but you still have to acknowledge the fact that it's going to be really, really hard to do the entire thing. All right. That material spend event on day 5, buddy, that is intense. It is huge. It is so tough to complete. And the day 1 event, that one's not exactly easy either. All right. Vic says they're labeled heroic for a reason, but this is what I'm saying. I go back, I'm very much on record as saying all events should have partial progression for all players. But if you want to look at completing it and maxing the payout, that's the extra milestone. That's the heroic piece of it. That is, we go back to Syndicate Advancement, right, Putz? You're a big advocate for the way Syndicate Advancement used to run. Everybody should be able to get a milestone or two, but you had to pay to get to the top of that event. I think Chronicle of the Ascendant is modeled in a similar way, but actually more stable. Actually, a little bit more rewarding for players because everybody can get partial progression for very little engagement there. And I have become satisfied, I guess, if you will. I've become at peace with the fact that it's unlikely I'm going to finish the entire Chronicle, but I'm going to take the 50 or 60 epic shards that I'm going to get out of it for relatively little engagement or for, relatively free engagement. I'm going to enjoy that and consider that a reward that I get for basic engagement. Partial progression is okay.
I agree with you that they are now like partial progression is always okay. I totally get that. The problem that I think that this was one of the cases of they didn't communicate with us before they changed it, and when they did change it, it went from everybody could if they just saved and free to play could do all 4 of the building, the research, the artifact, the first 4 days you could do and do those milestones easily. When they altered it, when they removed stuff to score, they made the building one, the day 1, 10 times harder to complete than the other 3 days, barring the final day Matt spent, right?
Right.
But you know, they made it a lot harder for a free to play to unlock an officer now. It's still doable, but it's not as easy. And also with the event, they link it to the Ferengi store loot, right? If you don't complete all of the milestones, you are missing out on some Ferengi store loot, which is pretty substantial when that is the only event store now.
Chronicle of the
2020
Ascendant. No. Chronicle of the Ascendant had officer shards. That was not Ferengi loot.
Not, no, not. So the meta from Chronicle has the officer shards. The
Yes.
feeder SMSs have the Ferengi event store.
Okay.
So you were taking, we had gotten used to, everybody had gotten used to, hey, these events, this is what they score on, and they kept adding to. And I guess we really didn't think about like they could take away, because they were all finite stuff. They were, once you put it in a building, your specialty parts for a building, that you can't just keep doing that every month, right? Like eventually it's gonna
But
bleed out and you're gonna have
we can't expect every single event to always be static. For example, I see Riskbreaker in the chat. Lack of communication, definitely an issue for sure. But look at things like the Vengeance SMS. We know that Outposts, for example, are probably not going to score next month. Same with Chronicle of the Ascendant. We can't expect that scoring will never change. Now, communication, sure, okay, but mechanics will always shift, and I think that that's okay. Like I said, this particular event, I guess if the alternative is kicking and screaming about it, I understand. But I guess I have become kind of at peace with the partial progression. Like, I'm going to get what I can get out of it. And in this particular case, ended up with 30 shards from this, some extra out of the SLB. I saw up here in the chat just a few moments ago that a player said, listen, by the time you counted the solo leaderboards and the meta and, all that, I ended up with roughly 90 Esri shards. I can't really complain with that, for no spend. And I think that's a fair perspective. Progression is king, says Sugar Red. So it depends on how you participate. It depends on how you bank for this and whether or not you're willing to spend on extra push for that officer. But the progress that we're getting with this officer, listen, I still think that it's better than the 20 shards we used to get out of the battle pass, and that was it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Or the previous event, which was essentially just the final synthesis and just that, not including any of the other metas. So if we're just looking at officer sourcing from the month for a auction officer, then I have to say that even with the current iteration of Chronicle of the Ascendant, it's still better than what we had in 2024.
Agreed.
Now, to your point, Putz, I do agree that reducing the avenues to complete the event does reduce the level of engagement we can have with it, and I see that as negative. But as a whole, it's still better that it exists than it doesn't exist at all.
Agreed.
100%.
And that's why I say I do think that the way it came out at the beginning of the year, Putz, was better. I do think that Chronicle of Ascendant got less valuable throughout the year. However, it is still a positive presence. Even if it got harder, even if it paid a little bit less by the end of the year, it still is a positive impact on the year 2025. Chronicle of the Ascendant. And as Jules mentioned at the beginning, I don't think there's any argument on Boldly Go. Man, I wish we saw that more. Boldly Go was awesome. I even love the mechanic of it, the play at your pace. Like you had a week and you didn't have to do stuff on day one. You didn't have to do stuff on day two. Basically, it was a bulk play, a play at your own pace for an entire 7 days. And I love that
And you
mechanic.
could play ahead.
Yeah, I love that
You
mechanic.
could play ahead.
You
which was the
basically
biggest
had
part.
you had 7 days. You had 50 objectives or maybe more, right? But you could do anything you wanted at any given time throughout that 7 days as long as you got stuff done. Listen, that has been the model for some players saying, hey, listen, throw up. Even Griffin has said, hey, listen, throw up 7-day timers. Throw up 20-day timers. Let me do what I want to do when I want to do it and be rewarded for it. I think that Boldly Go is a really solid example of that type of gameplay, that type of mechanic. Give me 50 events, give me 7 days to do them all, and I do what I want, when I need to, when I have time to, around my life, my work schedule, and my time to play, and don't punish me because I missed it on this particular day. I think Boldly Go might be one of the most attractive event series of the entire year, of all time. I'm not even going to say a 25. Jules, I think Boldly Go might be one of the best event series that have ever existed inside Fleet Command.
Agreed. Another event series that was actually called out earlier was Wandering Warriors, which was an event series that rewarded you progression for continuing to invest in a loop, maybe even after you've completed that, and reward you lots of Latinum for at the time. I think that was a really great series that was called a few times here in chat. Now, we haven't seen one of those in quite some time, and I do kind of wonder if that type of design, which was really trying to keep people engaged in loops that maybe have retired or were for previous generations, if that turned into what is now the mid-ops experience. And I think that's the last thing that I really wanted to point out. It's actually a recent development, is the Serene Squall was the last time that they tried to reach out across many generational gaps, all the way from G3 through G6, and said, hey, we're going to make one loop, one ship that's going to be worthwhile for everybody. And that, I think, from Scopely's perspective, was a failure. So they said, no more will we span multiple generations, especially with G7 launching. We're not going to make a 5-generational ship. We're going to split this up now, and only new content is going to be targeted for G5 Plus, and the older content is going to be reinvigorated for our players that are still experiencing that and in those loops right now. And that is our G3 and G4 using this new designed mid-ops experience event series. And I think for a lot of the people on this panel, we haven't directly experienced mid-ops experience, but what we've heard from that, what we've experienced through our community has been, it's been a very positive new game development.
Yeah, for sure. All right, we do need to take a break. Jules, is there anything more for this first segment? I know you said you had a little bit more for a segment after a break. We're over 2 hours in, so we're going to, we're actually 3 hours into stream, but 2 hours into pod. So what did you have teased for us coming up on the other side of the break that will be a little bit more condensed?
Absolutely. So a lot of this first segment was just really about the game content itself that we had in here. But now we just wanted to celebrate just the fun that we had as panelists here, and also would love to convey what you guys say in chat. These are the personal moments that made this game fun for you. Why are you still here? Why are you still playing the game? That could be either a fun interaction you had in PvP, an achievement maybe that you had in a PvE or in your alliance, or a progression milestone that you reached, or maybe what was just your proudest moment. I just want to kind of like enjoy this moment of us all kind of saying, hey, 2025, this crazy thing happened to me, and I wanted to share that with this community. And then the final segment is really focused on DJs and DJs' community. What kind of stream milestones did we hit, and just celebrating the community that we have built here, especially over the past year.
That's going to be a lot of fun, and we will open the stage for you to raise your hand and come in and talk a little bit about what it was that you experienced, what it was that impacted you, whether it was from the game or from within this community, and some of the crazy stuff that we hit, even as recently as a couple of days ago. So that comes up on the other side of the break. We are going to take a very quick break. So go grab a hot cocoa, go grab a soda, go run to the litter box. We will be back in just about 3 minutes for us to take a very quick break and take a look at the Fleet Command community and outside of game. What was the impact of you on this community, or the impact the community had on you? We will take your commentary, your call-ins on the other side of the break. My name is UltimatDJz. This is Talking Trek Live, Star Trek Fleet Command's official podcast, and we'll be back right after these words. That wasn't supposed to happen. God bless. See, that's a highlight for me. Tech glitches. All right. Yeah, let's do that. We'll be right back.
I heard there was a secret chord that David played, and it pleased the Lord, but you don't. really care for music, do ya? Well, it goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall, and the major lift, the baffled king composing hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Your faith was strong, but you needed proof. You saw her bathing on the roof. Her beauty and the moonlight overthrew ya. She tied you to her kitchen chair. She broke your throne and she cut your hair. And from your lips she drew the hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Well, maybe there's a God above, but all I've ever learned from love is how to shoot somebody who outdrew ya. And it's not a cry that you hear at night. It's not someone who has seen the light. It's a cold and it's a broken hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
Welcome back, everybody, to Talking Trek as we wrap up 2025 here on Star Trek Fleet Command's official podcast with the one and only Beck Likes Plants, Miss Rebecca Plants right there. When you talk about community, Jules, when you talk about the people who have made an impact on your life, one of the ones that comes to mind immediately for me is Beck Likes Plants and what she's done for our community, what she's done for us as a player base. I think that she is one of the unsung heroes of the community and has been for well beyond 2025. That is Beck, the multi-talented Beck Likes Plants, everybody. Oh! Yeah, we love Beck. So there you go. And then if I was going to follow that up with also something amazing that was created by the community this year, Jules, it would be the Drippy Biddle. Why don't we talk about amazing things that happened in the community?
Get ready to biddle.
This right here. Fantastic, right?
Could we not?
Wait,
Could
no,
we not?
No, okay, fine. All right, fine. I mean, I thought it was an impactful thing.
Slide to the right, shine like city light.
Lost it. It's like,
I mean,
I'm
it's
here.
impactful.
I'm here. Yes.
Slide back and sway for a ride, the rhythm, true move to the beat, you know what to do. Show the road, just pop now, let loose a little.
All right. Welcome back, everybody. My name is UltimatDJz. This is Talking Trek, Star Trek Fleet Command's official podcast, and the highly controversial Drippy Biddle, a creation of the community this past year, Jules. Maybe, possibly one of the highlights for me for the entire year. Jules Verne just stepped out just for a second to put baby Jules to bed. But Tarpy, as we're taking a look at this particular piece of the content, maybe a 15, 20-minute conversation, and the stage is open. If you'd like to raise your hand and come in and talk about community, talk about milestones for you in this game, whatever it is that you would like to share with the community. We'll start with Everywhere It Matters here on the stage here tonight, and what happened with you throughout the year 2025. What stood out to you from an outside the game perspective? What stood out to you as far as some of the fun that we may have had, or some of the impactful touching moments that has happened this year? Where has the Fleet Command community made an impact on your life this year?
Does it have to be positive?
No, I guess not. Matters is like, everything was awful. Everything was terrible.
Everything was horrible.
Yeah.
The community is terrible.
Why are you touching people? Don't touch people. Don't touch them there. I get it. I understand that. Why are you touching people? I don't understand. Look, Vic says, I went to G7. I didn't even get a T-shirt. All right. I feel like the whole year has been a waste. No, it's I like this particular segment that Jules wanted to kind of come up with, which was, hey, how has the game been impactful to you? For example, I'll go with one, Tarpy. How about just being able to meet up with players? This year, we had the Miami meetup, which was incredible. We met so many amazing people there. Huge shout out to Tiny Mama, for example. I remember meeting her. She was the life of the party there, if you remember. She was so much fun. Thumbelina and Barebutt Al on the Star Trek cruise with us. Absolutely phenomenal. Amazing cruise masters. Our guides to everything related to the Star Trek cruise. Totally introducing all of us to cruise life. Benny Hill's Ghost says it was a great meetup. I absolutely love that. Backing up just a tiny bit before that, we had the Nashville meetup just a couple of months before that. That was in 2024, where we had Dragon Keeper there. And the forever long joke about an open bar with him. I have found so many amazing relationships, even with our own panel, meeting Griffin here a couple of years ago and getting to travel with him, and meeting Tarpy and Strider and being able to travel with them, and meeting Jules Verne and traveling with him. It's been, for me, again, just kind of like I talk about with the Veil, community has been a big thing for me. As a creator, the people mean everything. Right? It's a super awesome thing. It's a super amazing thing for me to be able to meet people that support our channel, that communicate with us about the game, and watch our channel and watch our content and learn from us, and then being able to put faces with names. I've always loved that, Tarpy. I mean, we've had some amazing adventures ourselves, just you and I. It's been incredible. I love that. Matters, you don't have anything like that for us this year? You see, he really just needs us to come up and slap him with a fish. That's what he needs. He needs it.
No.
I mean,
no, not need the fish slap. I mean, I
always need.
It's no secret. I have a love-hate relationship with the community, between wanting things to be as painful as possible in the game, despite everyone wanting the opposite.
Yes.
And disagreeing with popular sentiment about what's good and what's effective and how things work. But the thing that stands out the most for me, and it does every year, is what we do in these leading up to the holidays with the Christmas Angel Fund.
For sure.
And it's so touching and humbling, and it makes me surprisingly proud to be a part of this community. And that there's just so much love compacted in that small amount of time. It makes up for the entire year of hate.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. The community is incredible. Their hearts are so large, and they're so incredibly generous and warm and giving. I actually got a message, and this was, I guess, a week and a half ago, or whenever we did the final show. Shout out Emperor Jew, who is a VIP. A lot of you guys know him. He's a very large player in the game. it says, man, DJs took me daggone near a week of short listening sessions to limp through the Christmas Angel Fund. Me ugly crying at work is not sustainable. Absolutely amazing work that the community has been able to pull off. Makes me proud. Dozens of comments like that warm my heart, and yeah, Matters, I can echo that sentiment 1,000%. As you guys can see here on your screen, and this isn't even the final tally yet, but we're at $80,670 for the Christmas Angel Fund, and that's not even the final tally yet. We're still waiting on that from Lee Ellen at the hospital, because there were some other employee matches and things like that that came in. Sherlock Holmes says, as the parent of a childhood cancer survivor, the annual Christmas Fund is the highlight of my year. It is. It's an absolutely amazing thing. So you guys deserve all the credit on that. You guys are incredible. Thank you for that. It is. That's a good one, Matters. Thank you for calling that out. It's a super huge thing. And we smashed records. You guys realize, Matters, that in the year 2023, 24, and now 25, 3 years you guys have done this. You have supported this hospital with over $200,000 in funds. And this is not funds that go to administration. It's not funds that go into some research fund somewhere. Not that those things are not important, but this is $200,000 that goes directly to children. I mean, 100%. The video game carts, the music carts, the Legos, the toys, the gifts that these children get to experience, and the experiences, right? The kids that got to play Mario Kart with some members of the community, the kids that got to play with the Legos that you guys provided, the kids that get to play with items from the 3D printer or get to understand about their health from the 3D printer that you guys provided. I mean, that stuff is absolutely wild. Just so great. And I couldn't be more proud of you guys. $200,000 in just 3 seasons. So it's absolutely incredible what you guys have been able to do, and I'm very, very grateful to be a part of it. Thank you for allowing our channel to be the herald of that, and the benefactor, or provide to you guys a benefactor of the Monroe Carroll Jr. Children's Hospital at Nashville. It's just such an amazing thing. So thank you, Matters, for calling that out. But that belongs to the community. That honor is the community's right there. But that's exactly what we're talking about. What has the community done? What have you been touched by in such a positive way? And I think that's a big one. So thank you for saying that. I appreciate that. Tarpy, what about you?
You know, it's been really interesting over the last year. Obviously, getting to meet all of you was a really great honor. But also, the more people from the community that I've met and talked to, it really provides a type of depth to these conversations that we have 2 or 3 nights a week, because, you know, there's a lot of keyboard warriors in a lot of realms on the internet. But as soon as you meet someone, it provides a different amount of just something to the conversation with them, because you can hear their words in a different way than you might have read before. And so I've met, you know, several dozen people from the community in the last year. And, you know, I've met people from Scopely, and I've met people from this community, Samo's community. And that has meant a lot to me, because it really just helps me understand them a little bit better, and where they're coming from, and how to represent them a little bit better on the stage like this.
Yeah. Ice Wolf says, Tarpy, let me lay on her couch and pet her cats. My life is good. You know, I share that. Getting to meet Major Samo and the Samo Famo was super awesome. Getting to cruise with them last year was great. That was, you know, really a cool experience to live with you guys for a week. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, we lived together for a whole week, and, you know, for better or worse, and all the fun that we got to have and the food we got to share together. And then, you know, Tarpy and Strider and Griffin and I and Mr. and Mrs. Putz got to stay together for a weekend in Chicago, where we met Jules, we met Kirk, we met Sherlock and Mrs. Sherlock Holmes. among many others. It was
And
just,
Tari's?
yeah, and
Yeah.
Burton was there. It was just super, super cool stuff. I love stuff like that. On our stage is a major benefactor of our show, somebody who absolutely believes in community and providing fun for the community, and honestly has funded a lot of the fun things that we get to do for the community out of his own pocket. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage from Server 45, Lost in Space. How are you, buddy? Welcome.
What's up, man? How's it going?
You know, funny story about Lost In, who has always been a major part of our community, but has been so inspired by the community and so inspired by what the community is capable of holistically and what other creators have done, that he has actually indeed started becoming a creator himself and has done amazing stuff, great content, very enjoyable and entertaining content, obviously from a free-to-play perspective. Lost In, you have become a content creator this year. Why did you do that?
I wanted to show the community how to play free to play.
Obviously.
I thought that was important.
Yeah, we need that, obviously. Very, very important.
No, so I just want to tag on to what Matter said for a second, because that's what I really wanted to come up and talk about. I've spent my professional life taking care of sick children in ICUs, and I think what this show and this community has done with the amount of money that's been raised is just really amazing. And I know people are talking about how much they think it means, but once you live it for a long period of time, it's just incredibly impactful. And, you know, you see these kids that are going through really the worst times of their lives, and they still want to play. And it's really, really a big thing. And I don't think we can underline that enough. And I think, I remember a few years ago when the community was struggling to make a few thousand, and now we're raising 80,000 in a season. And I think you should be unbelievably proud of that. And I think the community should be proud of it. And I think that's amazing. So, I mean, I'll answer your question, but I just couldn't get on the stage and not say that.
Well, thank you.
It's really a really, really big thing. So, I mean, I became a content community creator because I've been having a lot of fun with the community, and I sort of dipped my toe in, and I just wanted to call out, actually, it's members of the community that basically showed me how to do it. You know, Ice Wolf is making videos to show me like how to set things up, and you're answering questions, and Zero's making content and putting it on, and other content creators are always in the audience and always helping, and even the people that are not content creators, they continually show up, and they're hanging out, and it's really a fun community, and it is really the best part of this game. So I think it's worth calling out, and I think it's why, honestly, we all still play this game.
For sure.
You know, it's just fun to do, and so yeah, I've had a lot of fun with it. I'm still figuring it out, you know, but having fun with it.
You know, it is. Tarpy mentions we've come a long way from don't talk to strangers on the internet. Community has been a big thing. You know, Beck released a video for the Christmas Angel Fund, just talking about how in awe of this community we are, and she is, and the Fleet Command team is, despite their ups and downs. This community still bands together. We're still here. We're still playing. We're still passionate about it. But there's so much stuff that comes as a result of everybody gathering together, and it's a cool thing. And I think that that's a huge call out, especially to amazing contributors like Ice Wolf and Zero G's, who are constantly giving of themselves to support other people and teach other people, you know, even within the realm of tech and you know, streaming and things like that. I mean, even your stream. How long have you actually been streaming now? 3 months? 2 months? 3 months?
Yeah, I'm in my third month.
Yeah, 3 months. And you look at your first stream compared to what it looks like today, and it's 10,000% improved technology wise and the graphics and the way everything looks. I mean, and that is a direct reflection on how the community has supported you. I think that's super awesome. Fisty says the same thing. Started a couple months ago. Everyone has been awesome at getting me to work better. It's just a lot of fun being here with you guys. It's a lot of fun. Twitch and YouTube and the podcast where we started it all 6 years ago. It's just grown in such a way that is wild. And a lot of fun, and you know, our lives now this is an important part of our lives. You know, it's cool.
I mean, and we see stuff where it's going from stream to stream. Stuff is crossing over where, like, Iron Chef visited my stream once, and now we've got all these like alerts and graphics with giant Iron Chef, and it's just like, you know, we're being goofy one night, and someone put something together, and then all of a sudden it's like on multiple streams, and people are laughing and joking about it, which I think is just it really builds community in a very strong way, which I think is amazing.
Well, the community is definitely a high point. Thank you so much for being a part of it, and thank you for being such a major benefactor to our show. You know, with the spins and the subs and everything that you do, because really, truthfully, a lot of what this community gets to enjoy is because of benefactors like yourself, who come in and support and give and allow us to do things and give and you know, like, for example, over here, you know, we got the Lego Enterprises. I mean, this is exciting. I'm excited to be able to do this, and that's because of contributions from the community that we can do that. I mean, this is an expensive Lego set that hopefully whoever wins it was in a position where they weren't going to be able to do it, and we're impacting their life. You know, we always talk about how great it is when we do giveaways, especially when a free-to-play wins it, for example, you know, because they might not have been able to get that $100 pack, but now they can. So it's cool to be able to provide those opportunities, and you're a big piece of that. So thank you from the bottom of my heart to you. Thank you for all the support and the generosity that you provide to the channel. It's amazing, and I'm humbled.
You're most welcome. It's great content, and I'm happy to be a free to play contributor.
Thank you very much. Obviously, you know, free to play is the goal of everything that we do here. So thank you so much. Jules is back on the stage. You know, here's another thing. For example, we talk about you know, how we've become family. You know, baby Jules has grown up on this show. She still has a talking Trek blankie. And
yes,
we got to eat pizza with pineapple together. As a matter of fact, she gave me a cup of her own pineapple fruit to put extra pineapple on my pizza. As a matter of fact, when we were having this lunch, she had her own cup of pineapple, and you had a cup of pineapple for me, and then she offered me extra pineapple out of her cup, which was just absolutely the most sweet.
So generous.
So generous and adorable that she was willing to put more pineapple on my pizza. But yeah, your daughter has been born and grown during the duration of your community ship here. And that is wild.
It's funny because I think just today in the gold chat, I want to make sure I get the name correct here. Gizmo Grinch announced that he is a new father.
Yeah, just had a baby. Congratulations, Gizmo. Yes.
And I was so excited. Baby girl too. So we got more baby girls on the way. And I was so excited for that announcement because I distinctly remember being so pumped for that announcement and posting it in your Discord, in this same Discord, Talking Trek Podcast Discord, when my daughter was born over 4.5 years ago. And it made me so happy to post that and share that news that I had a baby girl on the way, and I was so excited to get that blanket for her and everything. So yeah, it's been one wild ride. They've grown up with the furry cat.
Yeah, absolutely. Brett David has a baby boy that just turned 14 weeks being born here. Zero G's points out fellow content creator MJ Hat has a baby girl on the way as well. It's just a cool thing, and we're watching each other's families grow up. I mean, you guys have seen my boys over the last 6 years. You guys saw Oliver when he was 4 years old. And now, you know, he's 10 and doing stunts and playing Fortnite with you guys. I mean, I remember when he came out and wanted to play video games with you guys, and it's just, you know, you guys, we played, but I mean, he was just pressing buttons on a controller. You know what I'm saying? It's just a cute thing. Sydney says podcast yet? Yeah, and that's where it all started. Was with just a podcast that had like 10 or 15 people from my alliance and my server, and here we are, you know, 6, almost 7 years. As a matter of fact, we just hit our 7-year anniversary. November of 2019 was when we did our very first episode. Just hit our 6-year anniversary, getting ready to start, or just started our 7th year of content. Season 7 of Talking Trek starts in January. Yeah, I couldn't remember if it was 6 or 7. Thank you, Polar Bear. That just hit our 6-year anniversary making content for you guys. It's wild. So thank you for sharing that too as well. Putz, let's come to you.
I do want to share.
Yeah.
Well, I do want to share my proudest moment of 2025, at least, because, and this is working within and playing with the community. Both a regional space that has allowed me to play with players like you, DJs, in the Veil, but also Simpoli taking the reins. And yes, I'm going to post this here in the chat room. No, I'm not.
Don't post it.
Oh, I already did. I mean, it was unofficial, so
yeah,
you know, it's basically official now.
Yep.
Was me taking down his G6 rare minor with my G4 interceptor in the Veil, then converting that into a hailing frequency of him shocked at looking at this battle report. And all of this was for the Wind Trek series on the official Discord that Simpoli had created and was putting out there to kind of bond the community. And I think that not only, like, I know we don't like to go to official that often, mainly due to the complaining that tends to happen there, but this is one of those like unique opportunities that on every single day there was somebody sharing something that was unique to them, to the community, or to the interaction in the game. And this was just like, for me, this was the pinnacle of my year. Being able to play, being able to punch up and just prove the DJs will always be squishy.
Yeah, thank you.
And I'm so happy I got to do that.
Thank
and
you.
I won. By the way, this screenshot, this hailing frequency, won day 6. I just want you to know that you deserve at least 20% of the credit.
Thank you. Yes, this hailing frequency won on the entire official Discord for day 6. Yeah, that was awesome. Thanks. Thank you.
You're welcome,
Jules. Appreciate
You're
that
welcome.
very much. So yeah, that's one that we could have, gone without. Putz, what about you? You've been to my home. Putz, and we've eaten food together, and you slept in my house, and a friendship has been formed here that is, you've been to the children's hospital with me multiple times. You've been a Santa Claus for the children in the hospital. I mean, your journey here has been phenomenal as well.
Yeah, I still don't even believe that it's real. like I still, every time I look back and just kind of assess, I go, I don't even recognize, like 4 years ago, 5 years ago, I wouldn't even recognize myself now. But like what I'm doing and how I'm having fun and just what I'm doing after hours, after work and whatnot. And I'm better for it. So, I look at it as, this is, I'm playing with house money. So, no, everything that goes on is just amazing. I'm always in awe of the Christmas Angel Fund, of just, getting together when we do and having such a great time. And, yeah, every time we meet up, it's always a really great time. And yeah, I really love it.
Yeah, what's you can't believe is real is that you guys can actually hear Putz with a functional microphone. I get it. I understand. It's crazy. Improvements all the way around. Just the tip says San Diego Comic-Con event and meetup was a great time for me. You know, that was a super cool event. That was so much fun. A world premiere episode of Strange New Worlds that we got to see before the rest of the world. Getting to be face-to-face and listen to Tim Russ riff on a guitar in person, sharing food together with a member of the Star Trek family. That is so cool. That is an unbelievable moment for me, is getting to hang out with Tim Russ and his family who was there, and you know, actually making friends with someone from inside the Star Trek universe. It's so very, very cool. Yendis is on our stage. Good evening. Welcome. Appreciate you being on the stage of Talking Trek. How was the community, the game for you this year? 2025 in review. Are you better now than you were in December of 24?
Loads better. Loads better. I watch you guys. I learn from you guys. I watch the streams. I follow what you do, and I learn. Just like last night, that problem I had in MU where you walked me through it. I can now grind 68s without a problem.
That's awesome. Let's go. Big time Sigma speed ups right there. That's great. Good for you, man. Yeah, that's awesome.
I just wanted to thank you all for, you know, guiding me through the game. That's all I wanted to say.
Oh, thank you. It's our pleasure. I mean, without you guys, without players, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. So thank you so much. I appreciate that. That's incredible. Thank you. Thank you for speaking up, and thanks for coming on the show.
You guys have a good night.
You too, man. Thank you so much. Dave Strauss, got to meet you this past year in Miami. And that was a lot of fun, getting to meet you, hang out with you, and break bread with you. And you were our official Miami tour guide, so to speak, when we came down there. You picked us all up. You were running us all over the place. An insufferable job. All the gear that we had to cram into your cars, you were running us around to all these events. And that was awesome. Thank you so much for that. Getting to meet you has been a highlight, too. What about you? How has your 2025 been inside the community?
You know, it would have been fantastic if we got to repeat that again last week.
Okay, listen.
Burn.
I get it, but at the same time, like, I was corralling 5 children, okay? 4 teenagers plus Oliver, corralling all of them and doing all this crazy stuff. And you did not want any part of that, I promise. Okay, you did not want any part of that. I can tell you that. But yeah, no, it was great, and we're going to be in Miami again very, very soon. So yeah, we'll definitely get to meet up and catch up with you again soon.
Miami?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'll be back in Miami sometime during the first quarter. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got some plans. I got some plans.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
Yep.
I was like, please tell me you're not trying to cruise out of the wrong city.
It could be doing that too. That's possible. Not entirely sure. Yeah. So that's great. What about anybody else? Fisty is on the stage, coming from Server 20, been a core member of the community, and has been playing forever. A year one player on Server 20. Fisty, what's going on, baby? How are you?
Just happy to be here, and thank you for inviting me to come up and speak. Nice of you. It's awesome. I really wanted to say thank you to the community, and not just your community, but everybody who's been involved in helping me get started with my own small little bit of content creation, and also just helping me through the game and giving me direction on so many things. Yes, Destros, I'm awake.
I was going to say one of my favorite things is watching you twerk on Studio B. I kind of like that.
I like Studio B. I'm going on vacation tomorrow. Actually, our flight leaves in 6 hours, 7 hours.
So you should be.
I'll be
asleep.
out on the West Coast.
You should be asleep.
No, actually, no. Actually, I'm planning on staying awake because
that's a terrible idea.
We have to be at the airport at 4:30. So.
Oh boy. Oh boy. It's going to be a long day for you.
It's going to be a long day.
Yeah.
But you get to see a bunch of really cool friends. So
Well, I am going to get to see some cool friends while I'm out there. And I'm not going to, I don't want to spoil anything. So once it happens, we'll put some more information out on it.
I smell secrets. I smell secrets. Yeah, you can sleep on the plane. Everything will be fine there. Restless says one of my highlights was DJ's projectile vomiting while parasailing. Thanks. I appreciate you bringing that up. That didn't need to be said. But yeah, that was a memorable moment this year, wasn't it? That never needs to be discussed ever again. Thank you. Back to the drippy biddle, everybody. There's that. Yeah, I get that. So, yeah, Sugar Red.
Did you ever make the Christmas version of the drippy
No,
biddle?
I never did. I tried to come up with a little something. I never did. Thank you, Fisty. Appreciate you, man, and thanks for all your support. I know you've been a super big part of the community and also a benefactor of the channel. So thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it, man.
Thanks again. Appreciate it, everybody.
Sugar Red, what's going on, Server 74? How are you? Welcome.
Hey, how we doing, DJs?
Good, man. How are you?
Enjoying the end of 2025.
I know the year is gone. Yeah, the year is literally over. It's kind of funny. We were talking about that at work earlier today. Like another year already. It seems really, really fast. But yeah, here we are at the very, very tail end of it, getting ready to hit Christmas and New Year's, and it's kind of crazy. How has 25 been for you in and around the community, in the game? Are you better off having had the Fleet Command property with you throughout 2025?
Yeah, it's been a really interesting year. I got to meet one of my alliance mates. He came out to see me.
That's cool.
I was out in the middle of the country for a family thing, and yeah, I got to meet one of my alliance mates. We've been, my alliance has grown significantly over the last year. We made Master League. That was big deal for us. We hadn't done that yet.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. We had a merger at this time last year. Well, actually, no, we just had a merger. That was part of what got us to Master League. But this time last year, I was actually at the end of G4 flying a pile. And now I just pressed the button for 70.
Dude, that's awesome.
So I've pushed completely through G5 and G6, most of G6 in basically the last 12 months. And this game, definitely, my alliance for like big torchbearers for me as far as the game goes in community. That's been, they helped me get through some really, really tough times, personal things going on. But the game itself has been, in my pocket the whole time, just, carrying around a little bit of distraction.
Yeah.
Just something else to do, something to have fun with, never mind all the issues and things that we have trouble with. Like it's still a game, and we still manage to get together and have a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you very much for being a part of our community. I know you've been around for a long, long time as well. So thank you for being a contributing member of the community. Thanks for popping up on stage, and thank you for everything you've done for the channel over the last year. It's been super awesome. Thanks, man. Appreciate you.
All right, you guys have a great night.
You too. Take care. Jules, I know that this was your segment that you kind of wanted to curate. Is there anything else that you wanted to dive into or touch on before we get ready to wrap up here tonight?
I had to pop out for a little bit to take care of baby Jules. So I just wanted to see if everyone on the panel wanted to share their best moments of 2025 in game, or as you had been calling out a lot, was in the community too. But one of the things that I enjoyed was that me hitting you and finding you, but it's also like me finding all of my other friends in this community in the Vale. And I just wanted to see if anyone had any.
We've got the best Vale, the cool kids Vale.
Yeah. What? So Destros, actually, this is a question for you, because you told me this in DM that one of your proudest moments of your alliance was watching them defeat a really hard target. Did you want to share that?
Yeah. So the other day, I think it was actually last week, like on Tuesday or Thursday, I pop in at like 10 o'clock to reset my shield, and I see my alliance out there in level 74 Mata space, defeating the Krenums without me, and I'm like, oh my god, they didn't even have to ping me this time. I was ecstatic. I'm like, wow, having been in my alliance for only a year, to see them go from me having me, carrying them on pretty much anything that came out to them being able to do it on their own and not even needing to ask when I was available was incredible.
Yeah, that is cool. I
totally agree.
And then in the circle, I posted a picture of my personal achievement this year of showing that, in fact, all bananas are, in fact, squishy.
Okay. shout out Q, a great member of my alliance. I enjoy playing with him. But yeah, there you go. One of my alliance mates also taken down.
That wasn't just one, my friend.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. There's Captain Bull. See Captain Bull. There's Captain Bull taking a loss, and my Admiral JB right there taking a loss to Daystros there. Yeah. Okay. That's fine. But squishy is a state of being. All right. Squishy is a fun place to be.
Can that be the merch, please?
Yeah.
Squishy is a state of being.
Yeah.
I think those are AI generated images.
Yeah.
I think they're fake. I see an extra finger.
I agree. Yeah, that's right. Why is there 7 hands on that board cube right there? I don't understand.
That's a 7-sided cube.
Yeah, what? That doesn't look real. So that's awesome.
Hey,
Andy,
you know what, Clark?
Andy says one of his best
Squishy
moments
bananas.
was killing DJs in arenas. Yeah, thanks for that too. Appreciate it.
Yep. I was gonna say, Clark, squishy bananas have a role as amazing banana bread.
That's right.
So don't hate on the squishy bananas.
We go in. We're amazingly sweet, and we go great with baked goods. All right.
And bacon.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, goodness gracious. All right. Well, it's been a great time with you guys tonight, and thank you so much for being here with us and reflecting on 2025. In summary, Jules, and we can kind of go around the panels. We get ready to wrap up here, but in summary, I definitely feel that despite its ups and downs, despite the direction of Fleet Command at this particular moment, that I do think, and I believe that we're kind of starting to maybe hit that change in direction, hopefully, and we'll see that translate in 2026. But I do genuinely feel like I personally am better off today than I was 1 year ago, and I have all of you guys to thank for that. So thank you so very much. I appreciate all the members of the team. I appreciate my partner Griffin for everything that he's done. I appreciate all of you guys for supporting the channel and continuing to watch and doing all the crazy things and just being a part of all the fun here day in and day out inside the community of Talking Trek. You guys are incredible. So thank you. Yes, Jules, I am better off today than I was 12 months ago.
Oh, that's great. That's great to hear. And I do want to also reiterate a point that our good friend James Bond makes on his stream all the time. You're always going to have some fun in the game, or else you wouldn't be playing it. It doesn't matter how much you spend. It doesn't matter what of the game content is great, what of the game time is broken. You will find a place to have fun, and sometimes that's the community, and sometimes that's game. So I just appreciate everyone here, this panel, everyone I've been playing with, and everyone I've met in this community for what has been a wonderful year for sure.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Tarpy, final thoughts as we get ready to wrap up our year-end wrap-up here at Talking Trek.
I'm looking forward to what 2026 is going to have. Community-wise, at a minimum. Game can be the game, but the community will be fun.
You just jinxed it. You're the first person to say that, and you just jinxed it.
Oh, no.
Hey,
we're
it's
done.
fine.
That's it. It's all done. Karkin, thank you to everything that you've done and been, an alliance mate of mine for almost 6 years now, and a constant voice of comedy and intelligence here on this channel. Thank you for your experiences here. And what about you? You better off today than you were a year ago, and what are you looking forward to in the new year?
I'm still a little peeved about the ascendancy changes and the syndicate. That's going to be bitter tomorrow, isn't it?
I guess. Yeah. Yeah, maybe. But we can always look up, right? Where'd he go? Karkin, shut the hell up! All right, sorry. He's just gone. There he goes. Matters, Daystros, Putz. What about you guys? Better off today than we were 12 months ago? I feel like we might be.
I'll let you keep going. It's been good. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. This year, getting to meet everybody at the Miami meetup and then working with everybody together, not just here in Talking Trek, but across the other communities has been fantastic. It's brought new life to the game that wasn't there just playing with my alliance or just playing solo.
That's awesome. Thank you very much. Putz?
I am definitely.
There's the Putz we know and love. Right there. There it is. Sorry, I'll
ending the year.
There we go. The final comments are.
Oh. So good. Okay, can I just say one of my favorite parts of this entire year has been being able to come home from work when work really sucked and get to make fun of all of you and have all of you make fun of me and just not have to think about my real life job. That has been amazing.
That's the benefit of entertainment and gaming, and what we've done here is it's become a part of our release, our relaxation, our social life, and yeah, I think that's a big thing. Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy holidays. Chris Mahana Kwanzaa, Festivus, Krampus, whatever it is that you guys do. Happy holidays to you, B. Smith. Thank you. Happy holiday to you, Polar Bear, to you, Jonathan Wick, Grouchy Outlaw, Andy. Yes, skip the 71 minor. Merry Christmas to you, Lord Ascarin. Havermeyer, thank you. Omega J, thank you. Doug, thank you. Martok, Merry Christmas to you. Silvertab, to you as well. We appreciate every single one of you. With that, Talking Trek will wrap up here tonight. We appreciate every single one of you and an absolutely amazing year in review. We appreciate all of you, and we look forward to 2026 together with you here on the stage of Talking Trek. My name is UltimatDJz. Thank you so very much for being here. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful holiday with your family, loved ones, and we will see you right here, right after the holidays. Good night, everybody.
Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Let your heart be light. From now on, your troubles will be out of sight. Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Make the Yuletide gay. From now on, your troubles will be miles away. Here we are as Through the years we all will be together. If the fates allow, so hey.